A very good morning to each and every one of you. On behalf of the Department of Commerce, University of Madras, Departments of Commerce and Management Studies, BSA Crescent Institute of Science and Technology, and the Postgraduate Department of Commerce shift to Stella Maris College, I deem it my pleasure in welcoming each and every one of you to this virtual summit on paradigm shift in consumer behavior. They say necessity is the mother of invention, and so these unusual and uncertain circumstances have given us all an opportunity, or rather, has necessitated us to adapt to digital technology. Our focus today is going to be on marketing strategies. We have a wide array of resource people lined up to make this session as fruitful as possible for you, dear participants. So with that being said, let us commence today's session by invoking the blessings of the Almighty. Abba Father, we thank you for giving us this new day. We thank you, Lord, for the bountiful blessings you have bestowed on us. We pray for your divine grace that you may teach us to always trust in your providence. We intercede for your continued protection over each one of us and our families. Amen. In order to begin today's session, I would like to call upon Dr. Ayub Khan Dhawad, Dean, School of Social Science and Humanities, BSA Crescent Institute of Science and Technology, to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Well, thank you, Professor. In the name of God, the most beneficent and merciful, a very good morning to one and all present here. And welcome to today's virtual summit one hosted by the Department of Commerce, University of Madras, Department of Commerce and Management Studies, BSA Crescent Institute of Science and Technology, and Department of Commerce shift to Stella Maris College, Chennai. The outbreak of novel coronavirus disease is a grave menace to the entire world, affecting millions of people. Due to the lockdown announced by the Indian government, the economy may slow down over the next few months. For most businesses, the slowdown could be in the form of supply disruptions, fall in consumption demand, and stress on banking and financial sectors. The primary objective of today's summit is to analyze the economic situation and draft coping strategies to overcome this pandemic period. I would like to take this opportunity to express my deep appreciation for our most respected Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Dr. A.P. Mohammed, for honoring us to inaugurate the virtual summit one. Dr. A.P. Mohammed, before assuming the most coveted post as a Pro Vice Chancellor of BSA Crescent Institute of Science and Technology, has served in various capacities for Anna University. To mention a few, Professor and Head Department of Textile Technology, Director Center for Affiliation Institutions, Anna University, Director Center for Faculty Development, Anna University, Controller of Examination for Anna University of Technology, Director Planning and Development, Anna University, Chairman Faculty of Technology, Anna University, Chennai. On behalf of the host institutions, I welcome you, sir. It's my privilege and honor to welcome the resource person for today's session, Mr. Rajkumar, Senior Assistant General Manager, Sundaram Learning, Mr. Krishnan Venkat Ramesh, Business Development Consultant, Mr. Samuel Harris, Founder Director Taiki and former Head Post Business Bharati Airtel, Mr. Parvez Alam, CEO and Director Crescent Innovation and Incubation Center, Mr. Abhishek Mishra, Co-Founder Indra Lab, and Mr. Prajwal Karuna, Director Marketing and Rekindle Automations. It is true pleasure for me to welcome the patrons to this event, respected Dr. A. Azad, Registrar, respected Dr. N. Raja Hussain, Registrar from the BS Institute of Science and Technology, Revered and most respected Dr. Sister Rosie Joseph, Principal, Stella Maris College. I would like to extend a warm welcome to Dr. Rangarajan, Professor and Head Department of Commerce, University of Madras, Dr. Lima Francis, Dean, Commerce and Business Studies, Stella Maris College, Dr. K. Srinivasan, Dean, Management Studies, Dr. Shanmugam, Head of the Department of Management, Dr. Afzalur Rahman, Head of the Department of Commerce from the BSA Crescent Institute of Science and Technology. I take this opportunity to welcome the pillars of this event, the coordinators, Dr. Ganesh, Professor of Management Studies from BSA Crescent Institute of Science and Technology, Dr. R. Shanti, Associate Professor from the University of Madras, Dr. Shanti Ranjit, Head, Department of Commerce, Shift to Stella Maris College, and the technical coordinators, Ms. Deepa Shri, Ms. Leelavadi, Ms. Sharanya, Ms. Ankita Anthony, and Ms. Rema Roy. I welcome and express my gratitude to all participants and wish you a very fruitful and productive summit. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Dr. Ayub. I would now like to invite Dr. A. Pierre Mohammed, Pro Vice Chancellor, BSA Crescent Institute of Science and Technology, to inaugurate day one of this virtual summit.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, all of you. My beloved Dean, the School of Social Sciences and Humanities, Dr. Ayub Khan, and the conveners from Department of Commerce, University of Madras, and similarly from the Department of Commerce from Stella Maris College, the professors and the faculties from all these three reputed institutions, the invitees, and particularly the resource persons of today's summit. It gives me immense pleasure in inaugurating this virtual summit on paradigm shift in consumer behavior, particularly on marketing strategies. So I would congratulate all the conveners of these three institutions for organizing such a summit on the most relevant topic, particularly is more relevant in today's context. So this conference, I understand, is mainly organized for the students of commerce from all over the country or participating in today's summit. So today we are facing the crisis. All of you know that, and so we have to find a way out to come out of this crisis. And particularly, what the marketing can help us in tiding over the crisis is the main topic today. As you all know that marketing is always volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So all the more it's very difficult to manage a marketing in normal days, and now in the post-COVID period, it's becoming more and more difficult, and it's more and more unpredictable. The decision making in everyday process is very difficult. Everybody is finding it difficult. We hear from them, and even in the academic institution also every day we are facing a lot of issues, and we are finding ways to come out of these issues. So particularly with respect to the consumer, isn't it? This is the consumer, the paradigm shift in the consumer behavior. Actually, today everybody is a consumer. I am also one of the consumer here. So the consumer preference has totally changed in today's context. We prefer only the essential items, and mostly the essential items are available. So the marketing strategy should be realigned in such a way that the consumer gets the essential items at the right time at the right place. It's very important. Getting the essential item, now it's even though it's all available, but getting it at the right time becomes somewhat difficult, and the strategies should work out some finding ways for that. And of course, we don't go for purchasing non-essential items now. And again, the manufacturers are finding difficult, manufacturers of the non-essential items. Again, the strategies also should be realigned to take care of, to manage the non-essential items also, selling of the non-essential items. And as far as the consumer attention is concerned, everyone is a consumer. We are all worried about our safety. not only our safety, the safety of our family and safety of our society at large. So the market also should address or assist actually in keeping the safety of all the consumers. How best they can come with some novel ways of protecting the safety of each and every one. So, as a student of commerce, so you could also learn. Actually, it's a very good experience given to you. So you could learn from these crisis period and come out with a lot of suggestions and ideas, and you could also share with your faculty and marketing people, so that we could lead in a normal way in the days to come. And of course, we have a very strong panel of speakers today. They are all very experts in their own areas of specialization. I wish that our students, particularly the students of commerce, should learn from their lectures, and whatever the ideas, strategies they suggest, you please follow them carefully, and this will definitely come in a good stead in your career later. So this is a 3-day program, and the first day is on the marketing strategies. I again congratulate the conveners of these three famous institutions, our BSCA, Crescent Institute of Science and Technology, University of Madras, and Stella Maris College. I wish the program a grand success. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Dr. P. Mohammed, for your kind words. Let us now begin with today's session. Our first speaker for today is Mr. Rajkumar. I would like to extend my gratitude and welcome you, sir, to this session. A brief about Mr. Rajkumar. He has about 26 years of work experience in sales, marketing, and training. A maths graduate who later studied applied psychology and worked in the financial services domain. Sir has trained some of the best masters, including distinguished academicians, Hindu and Buddhist monks, CEOs, just to name a few. Sir has experience in mentoring sales team members and has used training as a methodology to develop business. He is currently part of the faculty at Sundaram Learning. With that being said, I invite you, Mr. Rajkumar, to take over.
Thank you, Ankita. I hope you're able to hear me. Just sharing my screen here. One moment. Hope my screen is visible now. So, thank you. So, just wanted to take you through some of the paradigm shifts which are happening, and the marketing strategies which we can put together. Before I go into the session, I thank the organizers. I don't want to go name by name, just to say thank. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to all of you. I'm keeping in mind that I am primarily addressing professors and teachers who are going to talk to students. So I'm going to address my session accordingly. Yes. So I'm going to talk to you in 3 parts. One is a 30,000 feet view of what is happening. Of course, the image is not 30,000. Just to give you a think that this is a bird's eye view. And this is where I will cover some of the statistics of what is happening, what few top people are saying about the economy, what's happening, what's going to happen in the future in terms of marketing strategies, etc. But I will also touch upon the smell of the earth. So what do I mean by this? This is something where I can share with you what is my experience. What is that I am interacting with people in our own company. These are people whom I can see in flesh and blood, and what they feel about the market and what is happening with them. Of course, the 30,000 feet view will give us an overall marketing strategy, but this is also somebody whom I see probably on a weekly basis. I interact with them. So the third thing what I want to talk to you is about what my heart will say, or what it says in terms of how we can handle this situation, what we are. This is situation which we don't sort of want to be in, but it has happened. So how do we get there? How do we handle the situation? These are the three parts in which we are going to cover. And there is an indicator right on right hand side bottom corner, which will indicate where we are throughout the session. And I believe I have a 35-minute session to talk to you, and later we can have a question and answer as well. So I'm going into the 30,000 feet part, where I want to share with you some of the statistics, and here we go. And these are the statistics where how is going to be the customer behavior once the lockdown ends. Yeah, and we have 10% of customers who they say is going to come back to the bank, which means they're going to spend more than what they were spending before. I'm not here telling you that they're going to like go and save their spend their entire savings, but these are guys who are going to spend little bit more compared to what they were spending before. Maybe these are the people who may be getting a raise because they are in IT companies which are directly addressing the situation now. And the next is a category which is cautiously extravagant. This is the category where they're going to pay premium for certain products. Now, we may be wondering, why would somebody pay premium for a certain product in this situation? So these are the people who see that there are some businesses which are socially aware, and they are willing to pay a premium to contribute. And these are guys who will go for products which are nationally available, products which are locally available. They are willing to pay a premium for certain products. It could even be a very small thing where I can pay something extra to my local grocer or the lady who sells the drinks for me. That's what I mean by willing to pay a certain premium on the products. And there is this category of 21% which is stay frugal. They will spend lesser once they come out of the pandemic. This is very understandable. But I want you to keep your mind on the cautiously extravagant. This is 25% of clients or customers who are willing to pay a premium for certain products. So, sorry. The next thing is getting back to normal. This is the category where it will not be changed. Nothing changes. They go ahead with the same spending pattern. Maybe they are working in some good companies where they don't get any salary cut, or everything is going good for them. And there is another category which is keep cutting. They will make very deep spending cuts. Probably this is a category which is 45-year-old or more. People who got their salary cut, people who got 20% of salaries. So they will be making even more deeper cuts. So this is something, statistics which is available. I've shared the link. You can go and see. I want to go further in terms of what we can do. So what are some of the top people say? Deloitte. So Rajat, what he says, out of home consumption will be slower. And pardon me for putting all the points up front. I did not want to take risk with the animation, especially online. It may slow down for some people. So I'm just going to put all the ideas here. I'm going to talk about it. I would want you to stay with me in terms of listening to each of these points. So Rajat, what he says, out of home consumption will be slow, which means what? Traveling, going out, eating out, those things will be slow. But there are people who are going to consume more on what they're going to do at home. For example, inside home, I've increased expenses on lighting, I've expenses on say internet or in-house entertainment, online products. These are the things which are going to be spent, and out of home consumption will be slow. And then Dheeraj Sinha, what he says, Leo Brunner, he says, rise in products which will make us independent. As I told you, products which are making me independent in terms of, think about the products which you are involved in. Does it make the customer more independent? Let's say a laptop, starting from a better internet device, or with a better mobile, and etc. Those are the things which make the customer independent. I also want to bring to your notice, respected Pete Mohammed, he was talking about essential commodity. It could be different for different people, essential commodities. Now, there is a race, they say, in terms of used cars, especially in the entry segment. That is making a customer independent in terms of traveling. He does not have to wait for public transport. So that's one product which makes customer independent. So what we need to see is we need to think about how our product is making the customer independent. And then sort of what he talks about the customer behavior is going to be, the new customer will be even more frugal, even more conscious. So these are some of the three points the top people are saying. I want you to keep this in mind because our solutions are going to be around this. So moving forward, what are the three questions we need to ask ourselves in this situation, which will help our business move forward? So what is the best way to reshape my strategy to meet sharp shifts in customer behavior? So how do you get the best way to reshape your strategy? We will come to that. What if anything my organization needs to change to accommodate societal expectations? So what is the expectation of the society, and how can I sort of transform my organization, relook at my business strategies, talk to my people in terms of how can I accommodate that, and how can innovation help me address rapid changes in customer demand. And this is something which we need to look little more deeper in terms of how can I address rapid changes in customer demand. So we can look at market surveys, we can look at the internet, we can look at some of the reports by different companies. But when it comes to our own customers whom we are going to speak to, that is, I think, somewhere we need to interact with customers and understand how their demands are changing, what is their needs, and how can we innovate to sort of serve these customers. So these are the three questions which we need to ask. We will come to the answers. I want to go to the next. These are again information which is available online, but I found them very, very relevant for what we are addressing here. So communicate transparently with your customers. These are going to be your strategies. Be transparent. Now is the time when you can be open to people and maintain healthy relationship with contracted parties. Everybody with whom your buyers, your other sort of sellers, your distributors, the people from whom you're buying, where you're sourcing, your manufacturers, all those parties have an healthy relationship, and manage employees and related optimism. So this is where you talk to your employees and related optimization. How can you optimize your employees, especially your employees' time? So how can you work with them in terms of making your probably reviews more precise? Because online there is a tendency where we have not met the people in person, so we may go in tangents. So initially it could be okay, but going forward, you may have to work with optimization with your employees' time, starting with your interactions with them, and going forward, all the optimization in terms of the work what they're doing. So how can you keep your team engaged with you? We're going to talk about it. We will see more of it. And how can you communicate to your stakeholders right from your internet, right from whatever you're going to you have to reach out to your stakeholders in terms of your customers, your shareholders, everybody. How can you do that in a much better way? So some more information of what I saw. So these are the newer challenges for business across 5 categories, and how can we handle them? So re-baseline customer insights, which means go back to the customer and ask what is his basic needs now. Probably the luxury needs have moved; they moved into something more. So what is the empathetic branding you're going to have with the customers rather than, I recently heard even Fair and Lovely is going to change that branding. They say something like right or something like that. So they're becoming more empathetic to customers. Of course, that's a very old thing which is going on. But how can we be more empathetic in terms of our branding when we speak to the customers now? And digital only. So how can we reach the customer only through the digital space? That is one key thing. And how can we collaborate with our employees remotely, even with your customers remotely? That is where one of the key things which is going to happen. And virtualize sales and service. How can I give both sales and service online? How can I think about serving my customers totally virtually? These are some of the things which are being recommended, and of course, this report is available online. You can go and download, and it's a fantastic PDF. A lot of useful inputs there. So I want to move to the next gear here. That is the smell of the earth. So what is happening around me? This is what I want to share with you now. This is our own experience. This is from the company where I work, how they handle customers. So what is a customer priority and what is a business challenge? Of course, the company I work with is Sundaram Learning. It's part of the Sundaram Finance Group. So how they work with customers now. So first thing, what they say, what our people say is, what is a customer priority? Today, customer's priority is the self and family expenses. That is the first priority for our customers. So how am I aligned to those thoughts of customer in terms of his self and family expenses? I will talk to you about how we address this when we talk to customers. Second thing, business working capital. This is his second concern. How can he run his business? Of course, he has to pay us back, but before that, he has to run his business. He's not going to spend his money in terms of paying back loans because he has to now run his business in terms of logistics. Especially our people are more of truck operators, so they are applying the vehicles. Their important need is to get the trucks back in action. How can they pay their employees? How can they service the vehicle which has not run for some time? How can they renew all the government formalities in terms of road tax, etc.? That is their need. So then comes repayment of loans. So why am I saying this? This could be the thing earlier, but earlier he was having the turnover to take care of the first two things. Now his turnover has fallen down, maybe 50%, maybe 20%. Maybe in some cases where customer is running an essential commodity business, where he is applying for, let's say, milk or vegetables or something like that, food items, medical and hospital related, there he may be making the money, but if he is in some other business, he's going to have a lot of challenges, and this is going to be his order of priority. So what's the business challenge what I'm facing here? Customer contactability in the first place. How can I reach the customer? Of course, the lockdown will lift. It's already lifted in many parts of the country, parts of the world. But still, how can I contact him in a safe way? That is a business challenge. The larger EMI delays due to the cash flow. How can I handle this? Because as a business, when we have to lend people, we depend on the inflow from the customer. That is a cycle which we have to work on, because we are funded by the banks, and we may have to pay back the banks as well. And good customers are moving into marginal customers. This is another big challenge for the business, because we have a large chunk of customers who are very good customers, and they are moving into marginal customers. Not that they're becoming defaulters, but they are unable to pay. So how can I handle this? So what should be our customer communication? This is where our specialization comes in terms of dealing with customer last 65 years. And here is where we first inquire with the customer. You remember we spoke about the challenges of customer in terms of how he is managing his business. So first inquire and then empathize, and then create awareness to the customer in terms of what is happening around him. Give him some inputs on what our company is doing, and also assure the customer that we are with him, we are going to stay with him, we are going to support him in these times of need, and there's no urgency in terms of there is no emergency, especially from our point of view, because he's already handling emergency, he's already having challenges at his work. So what are the updates which we can share with the customer which will help him? Can we give him information on how he can support his business better? Let's say we can share information on what is the sectors which is working well, how he can get benefited. We can even connect him to some of the other customers who may need help. This is where we sort of help the customer connect to some other businesses where they are running on essential commodities, and maybe this customer can take his services and collaborate with the other person. So that is what is possible. So this is how we communicate with our customer. And some of the examples of how we communicate with self-employed customers. I'm going a little bit, one or two more slides into this, just to show you how we can work with customers much better. So in terms of what is the extent to which his business is affected? How is he going to receive the money due to him? And when should he pay back to others? That is his commitment to other people apart from us. How is he managing his fixed costs? What is his business continuity plan? So this is not a training program on how to talk to customers who have taken loan from you, but this is just to make you aware on the customer engagement model, which is based on empathy. This is not based on how we can get the money. This is not based on how we can do the business, but this is based on empathy with the customer. And remember, I told you we're a 65-year-old company. A lot of our relationships are long-term with customers. So this is how we engage with customers in terms of empathy, in terms of how it is working for them. I'm just going to give you a quick example of a salaried customer, of how he is working in the lockdown, what kind of support he is getting from his employer, what is his compensation, whether he's getting paid or not, what is the possibility of job loss, what is the plan for future. And if you notice here, we are empathizing with customer, and we are also asking sort of questions. Of course, the questions are different to different customers. We customize it based on the customer, but these are questions which is making customer think in terms of what could be his action plans. We are sort of guiding the customer in a way where he can become more positive. He can think of the future in terms of how he is going to manage himself, how he is going to run his work. This is not just focus on how we can get the money back out of it. And now, why am I talking about collections when we are talking about business, about the marketing strategy? That's exactly my point. My point is, when we speak to customers like this is our experience. Of course, our intention is to totally empathize with the customer. But when we spoke to customers like this, customers willingly wanted to pay us back. And not just that, they are referring other people who need our help. They are going into the market and telling, hey, look, guys, here is the company which is supporting me in my business, which is asking me questions on how can I help you. In some cases, we have even funded the customer more. This is the place where I want to tell you that it is not just about marketing. It is about how can I help the customer. That is where it has come to now. Of course, this was there in the talk, maybe in the boardroom, maybe in the top management discussion, but how can I get it to the end person who is actually meeting the customer? This is the person who is actually smelling the earth. How can he talk this language to the customer, where he is talking about how he can help the customer go about what he's doing, not about how I can sell my product, not about how I can get my money back, not about how I can increase my market share. This is not what we are talking about. We are talking about how we can help. And based on this is what my heart says. And I'm not a sage, I'm not a guru, I'm not a guy who is an expert, but every person is a customer, and every person has a guru in him which is telling him what to do. And that is what I would want to share in the next probably 10 minutes with you. So this is the customer behavior, and this is the business strategy. The customer is becoming more sensible, more responsible, and more empathetic. Actually, I wanted to give a dramatic entrance to this slide, but I wanted to refrain from doing an animation because it may not work better online. So what's the behavior of the customer, and what should be the business strategy? It's very simple to me when I think about it. Customers becoming sensible, responsible, empathetic. How can business become more sensible, responsible, and more empathetic? That is my thought process. That would be my suggestion to people when they talk about how can I overcome the situation. Of course, I consult for a few small companies, very small companies, as part of my work. When I do training, I also talk to them about how they can come out of the situation. So that's the experience which I'm sharing here for the next maybe 7 minutes for you. How can businesses be more sensible? Let me go a little bit more into these three parts. Take an honest inventory of your strength, ability, and value adds. What do I mean by value add? Value add is something the customer is not asking you. You are looking at what the customer could need and address those issues. It is not just what customer is telling you openly. Sometimes customer may not be able to express it. But value add is something you think about the probable needs of the customer and add to it. Let's say a bank which keeps a pen ready at the place where they fill up the check leaves. That could be a very simple thing. Those could be value adds. Of course, there are many more examples online where they're offering deep discounts. Like, for example, we are offering huge discounts to people when it comes to training programs. So what is that you can do to offer things? Like, for example, this webinar is probably offered free of cost, where you are sharing information with people. So you can add value to their what they're doing. That is how we need to look at business to become more sensible and care more for the needs of the ecosystem than people outside. What do I mean by people outside? Let's say now is the time where you stop worrying about competition. Now is the time when you stop worrying about what other people outside of your business thinks about what you're doing. Now you need to care more about your ecosystem, people with whom you're working with. How can you help them better? And realize that we don't have to be in control of everything in life. And let's learn this. We don't have control, and nature has told us that we don't have control on everything. We cannot go outside when we want. That was something which was very easy. We have not heard of these situations. Maybe in countries where there is a war going on, that is where people have this challenge. But today, there's no war outside. Our war is on the virus, and we are not able to go outside, which means we don't have control. So we need to learn and see that how we can become sort of sensible to customer needs in this area, and be mindful of the time of the customer. Now is not the time to have an IVRS which says press 1, press 2, press 3, press 4, and press 9, up to 9 options. This is where the time of the customer is going out. I have experienced this during the lockdown when I attempt to reach some of the companies, and some of the companies right away they pick the call. So how do I do that? Because now there is a large number of customers may be going to call you for customer service. How do you address them? We will see some of them in the upcoming slides. So how can businesses become more responsible? Check whether your mission is a social responsibility mission at this point in time. Any business can do that. Even in a business which we don't think as a probably a necessity product, it's a luxurious product. Let's say a car. Even Maruti came out saying that we want to become socially responsible. We want to cut this cost of this vehicle and give this small vehicle to first-time users, and probably tie up with banks to give them, say, no EMI for the first 3 months or 4 months. So they are becoming socially responsible in terms of what they can add. Maybe that's not the solution for everybody, but that is something where they are thinking about how can I add value to this customer and become responsible and collaborate with like-minded businesses. In fact, I would highly encourage businesses to look at even competition and how they can collaborate with that, so that they can give better choices to customer and they can also grow better. In fact, our MD, he keeps talking about inclusion, where the banks give way to NBFCs in terms of reaching the end clients. The banks focus on funding the large clients, and the NBFCs take their capability and reach out to the smaller clients. So that's collaborating with like-minded businesses and crowdsource ideas. Don't just ask from your friends or your say top employees. Go to customers and ask their ideas. How can you get ideas from customers in terms of how you can be more responsible, how you can add value, and reimagine giving. This is one more thing which I spoke in few slides before, in terms of how you can give free support to people. So reimagine giving in terms of, let's say, I have attended programs where it cost, let's say, 10,000 rupees, and they give 3 options. One is you can pay 10,000 rupees. Another is you can pay 20,000 rupees, which means you can sponsor another person who is not able to pay. You see, we spoke about this in one of the previous slides. How you can sort of be empathetic. So sort of giving to people, giving an opportunity to people to contribute. And third is the best thing what I've heard. It says we are willing to offer it at a very deep discount, even for free for you, if you explain your situation. Let's say you don't have a job currently, you're an independent entrepreneur, and you don't have turnover. We are willing to give it to you for free. This is what is the experience I got when I interacted with some of the organizations which are doing online programs. That is reimagining giving. Okay, so how can I become more empathetic? Yeah. Empathy is a human endeavor. What do I mean by human endeavor? This is where we keep working on it. Learn how to empathize with each and every person of your staff. Be willing to listen without judgment. Always when we listen to somebody, we come up with an idea on what is this other person attempting to say. In fact, J. Krishnamurti, one of the noted philosophers, he said, to observe human behavior without judgment is the highest form of human intelligence. Just look at them like a CCTV camera, just observing. It's not that you are not having any feelings, but not going into judgment, not going into assumptions, not blaming the other person. How can we do that? How can we just listen? These are some of the things which are very critical these days, especially with our employees and our customers. Our customers, when they are calling us, ask them why they feel that way instead of getting defensive. Ask team members how things are going. What are their ideas? What are their concerns? What do they want to share? Probably even when somebody in office is going through a challenge, rally your support from your other colleagues on how you can support them when they are in need. Yeah. So these are the things on how we can become empathetic as a business and as probably people with whom we know, whom we interact with. So this is what the CEO Satya Nadella, who first when he first joined Microsoft, he said. He started diffusing its toxic culture by handing each one of his executives a 15-year-old book by a psychologist. This is something where this is a book which helps you build your empathy, not just with customers, not just with people around you, but even with yourself, so that you can think better. A concept called nonviolent communication. You can go through it when you have the time. Very powerful with businesses. So how do I go about implementation? We have spoken about what is the statistics and what I saw and what is my heart saying. So what is my recommendation in terms of implementation? Let's go back to our values and see what our mission statement says. Does our mission statement talk about being socially responsible? Does our mission statement talk about being empathetic with customer? Let's revisit that and check if it is in line with the needs of the customer at this point in time. Your product. So see if your frontline executive can explain the mission statement to your customer, not the top person, not the board members. Whether your frontline executive who actually meet the customer, is he able to explain your mission statement? Many times, whenever I meet people as part of my job, I want to keep taking a dipstick. I ask them, what is your company mission statement? Many people do not know what is a company mission statement, and the mission statement is noble, and it will help him in a way in which he is servicing customers, but unfortunately he does not know, because what he has been told about is targets. What he has been told about is what is the incentive he can get. What he has been told about is the feature of the product. He has not been told about what is the mission of the company. Now is the time when you align everybody in the process, in the line, in who's involved in business, about what is the mission statement. And why am I stressing that point here? See, as professors, as teachers, when we are speaking to our team members, these are all guys who are going to go into employment. Believe me, not everybody is going to become the top guy. Not everybody is going to go and do sort of consulting work. Not everybody is going to go into the boardroom immediately. Of course, there are few bright people who may land in top jobs, but those guys don't even need my support. That's what I learned in my training program. The top guys are already top guys. Now, what about the guys who are at the lower level, who are going to join the company, or people who are going to start small businesses? They need to learn what is empathy. They need to learn how can they become empathetic towards the other person. So that is the reason why I'm stressing that we need to reach the people, not just in terms of the business strategies. Of course, that's important. That's what we're teaching them in our MBA and many other things. But it is very important to teach them how they can handle the ground situation. What is a ground situation? How they can interact with customers, not just the policy decisions, not just the business strategies. Okay, so now is the time to redo it. So we can no longer think of people who use our products as customers. We need to engage with them as our partners. We need to engage with them as partners who are helping us do the business, partners who are giving us ideas, partners with whom we can discuss whatever is our what we are going through in terms of even our employees. Some places I see even employees are not looked at partners; they are looked at employees. So we need to graduate to a mindset where we look at our employees as partners. We need to look at a mindset where we need to engage with our customers as partners. So recently I read an article about this company which had to let 7,500 people go, and such an empathetic communication from the boss in terms of what is the support he is going to provide them to go while they're going to go forward. Need not be monetary, even some sort of a support where they can talk to somebody. outplacement of services. So these are the things he's talking to people in terms of how they can move forward. So I want to share with you that this is the new superpower. Empathy is a new superpower. How can you be empathetic with people around you, people with your business? Of course, the strategies are there. Of course, your discussions are there. In terms of businesses, I'm saying, how can you be empathetic with people? And that is going to help you overcome the challenge. And believe me, when your customers see that they are empathetic with you, they are going to support you. They are going to get you out of the situation. You don't have to worry about it, and you will overcome the situation with your business and if you are empathetic to your customers. And thank you so much. This is what I had to say. I can take your questions in the time which is left, and over to the host.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Rajkumar, for those insights on how businesses should empathize with consumers. And you're absolutely right. The consumer focus is also changing in terms of moving from our typical capitalistic approaches, moving towards more essential based because of various reasons. So thank you so much, Mr. Rajkumar. We have the first question by our very own Dr. Ayub Khan. In your presentation, you had mentioned that there might be a 10% increase in spending by consumers after the pandemic. So, a little more insight on that, sir.
Yes. Thank you so much for asking that question. I've considered. So why am I saying? Of course, this is a statistic, but why am I saying that 10% customers are going to spend more? I'm saying that they're going to spend more because there is a session of customers who got paid more. Let's say me as probably the training team, we were able to very well adapt to the online way of talking to customers. Now our opportunity is even more. You can look at so many software-based businesses where they have got more business. Of course, not a great example to share, but I can tell you Zoom. The company which is in so much of controversy, but it was a very small company, and American Airlines was like very big company. Now Zoom is 10 times of American Airlines, and their employees are getting bonuses left, right, center because their number of clients have increased by 30 times. Paying customers have increased by 30 times. Can you imagine 30 times? They could have never achieved this in the next 5 years. They achieved it in 3 months.
True.
Of course, they are going to spend more. And there are many people who are going to spend more from their savings for safety. This is not just this is their monthly expenditure. Like many of my friends are planning for a second or a used car. So that is where I'm saying people are going to spend more.
Yes.
Of course, the Stray Fogel type. My father is a professor who is retired. He's cutting dramatically.
Yes.
That is what you saw in the 15%. Thank you.
Sure. Absolutely, sir. So it's more industry specific, I'm assuming.
Yes.
So our next question is by Ms. Sarita, which talks about what are the best strategies of the FMCGs during COVID-19 to implement. So what are the strategies that FMCGs could use?
Yes. So any of the FMCG products, I would want you to sort of look at an idea on how it is going to help them either become independent, or how they can become safe, or how can they add value to their end customers. So all these three things. Even tea, can you make it tea with immunity? That is what we are talking about here. Even juices, can you make them with better immunity? Can you go organic? Can you source more local? These are the ways your FMCG products are going to get more attention from your customers.
Absolutely. So it's more like capitalizing the market. Today, everybody is talking about how to, make your immunity better, how to be healthier. Even in, like you said, for the smallest thing, even when you drink tea, you think twice whether this is going to help me or not, because everybody is better than sorry. So absolutely, sir. Definitely something.
Even I will say something which is a luxury product, which is, let's say, a gym. They can repurpose it as how can you keep your mind sane using exercise? Because that's the biggest challenge in the lockdown. And by this, I am saying more of an empathetic approach than yes, of course, business has to make money, business has to make profit. But this is a time where you think about how can I add value? How can I support the customer in ways in which I can innovate?
Yes, great. So due to our shortage of time, we're going to have to close now, sir. And I think that's about the questions that we have. So thank you so much, Mr. Rajkumar. On behalf of all the host institutions, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude for taking time off and addressing our participants today. Thank you so much, sir. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Ankita. Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, we've come to a close of the first session. Our next speaker for today is already waiting on the sidelines. And I would like to invite our next speaker, Mr. Krishnan Venkat Ramesh, who is a business consultant, a business development consultant. Sir has over 30 years of experience in top MNCs like PepsiCo, Lipton, Cadbury's, and various other FMCG companies. Sir has held previous designations like the General Manager of Sales, Pepsi, Regional Commercial Manager, Pepsi, and Commercial Manager of HUL. A professional seasoned with years of experience, we are delighted, sir, to have you with us. And on that note, I hand the session over to you.
Good morning, all. Am I audible? Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You can go ahead, sir.
Okay. So, with so much of detailing by Rajkumar, for a few seconds, I have to take you all people out of this subject and bring you back sometime, because he has done so much of detailing that he would have filled you with all those ideas. This thing. So I'll talk about the American tennis legend, Arthur Ashe. Okay, he was the first black man ever to win singles titles in Wimbledon, US Open, and the Australian Open. So in the early 80s, unfortunately, what happened was he had to undergo a blood transfusion, and he contracted HIV during a heart bypass, actually. And he publicly announced his disease in 1992 and began working to educate people about HIV and AIDS. All over the world, he received letters from his fans, and one of which very conveyed, "Why God has to select you for such a bad disease?" He replied, "The world over, 50 million children start playing tennis. 5 million learn to play tennis. 50,000 come to the circuit. 5,000 reach the Grand Slam. 50 reach Wimbledon. 4 to semi-final. 2 to finals. And 1 to become the winner. And while I was holding the cup, I never asked God, why me? And today, in pain, I should not ask the Almighty, why me? Why only me?" This is, if I were to say, "God, why me?" about bad things, then I should have said, "God, why me?" about all the good things that happened in my life. So this is just something to take you out of that subject, and then I want to bring you back. Yes, this most of the development programs, I have worked in all these MNCs, multinationals. The development program is always training programs, and development programs are there where we conduct people for us every 6 months, 2-day programs and all. What we take end of the program is actually some mind blocks gets cleared. Here also in this everyone who is assembled here have some idea about the customer behavior. And there are many experts also, because I know that I'm going to get a lot of questions to answer. But end of the day, whatever we talk and this thing, if I'm able to clear some of the mind blocks, some of the new things through my experiences, I would be very happy. Now, to start this thing, I will start with a self introduction. Lucky that basically we didn't have normally because of want of time, the self introductions have been cut short. But yes, it also helps the speaker to express himself more and talk about the subject when he's doing his self introduction. See, I started my so I will link some of the customer behavior things during my self-introduction also, during all those career experiences. I consider myself, very ahead of time in terms of, things happen in my life that way. Every stage, enabling me to learn life ahead of people, boys or girls, boys or, basically men of my age. My childhood was actually, I was born in Calcutta, a big joint family. Because a big joint family, my parents sent me to my maternal grandmother's place in Nagarkoil. So I did my initial, from 6 months age, I was actually with my grandmother. And so the childhood, I lived with my grandmother. And most important thing, what happened in my life was the bedtime stories my grandmother used to tell, from great epics, from all those Panchatantra, and she will also add some, stories of her own to make me somebody who is, basically know about what is honesty, what is feeling for your fellow people, what is good and what is evil, and what actually helps me even today. We those whenever we come to different difficult circumstances, you remember those stories, and you have some solution in mind. After my class 6, I studied in Nagarkoil. Then my parents took me to Kolkata, where I did my further education up to graduation. Kolkata being a city of joy, lot of it inculcated lot of street smartness in me. Being in a lower middle class family, after my class 10 matriculation, I started working also parallelly, studying in morning and evening classes to complete graduation in commerce. Within that 5 years of post matriculation, I would have worked in more than 50 different organizations, all temporary jobs, leave vacancies. Job used to be like, billing job, labeling job in a newspaper company. Early morning, they have to dispatch all the newspapers to different locations. They have to catch the train, they have to catch the, flights. So the labeling is very important, which bundle is going to which. So these are the jobs, do. The intention was, basically some support to my family, some support to my studies, and also, basically you have that young generation, young thing, you have the urge to buy some things. So this is how, basically, and my first corporate job, I landed in Lipton after my graduation. Lipton, everybody knows it's a tea company. Okay. But see, what happened was, I joined in a division which is called Animal Feeding Stuffs Division, which is basically making of poultry feed and cattle feed. And that is the first business. It is if you see, the customer, what you see, and the consumer is different. You have to deal with those farmers who come, who has a poultry farms, and this thing, who is a customer. Again, the product who is going to eat is the cow and the birds, the chicken or the broilers. So this is where, basically the difference of, identify everywhere. You can identify those differences in all transactions, even normal transactions. Then after 6 years with Lipton, I joined Cadbury's in their ice cream business. Again, a difficult business. Ice cream, you have to decide fast, otherwise the product will melt. Okay, so the product has to be reached in the right temperature. Cold chain is very important to reach the right product to the consumer. So the ice cream business, again, I was there this was actually a brand Dollops of Cadbury's. Then this business, what happened when Unilever, they had their Walls international brand, they want to launch in India. What they did was to get the get the market ready market. They acquired all the small brands like wherever regional brands. Maybe they would have acquired some 15 such brands, and so to get the people who are working, and also the retail shops, to acquire those retail shops so that they get a ready market. This is somewhere, basically this is an organizational strategy where a consumer, a devout consumer of a Dollops brand or a Gatorade brand, overnight he or she saw that the brand vanished from the market, and they overnight they saw everywhere Walls. So this is basically some of the things which is which definitely knows the customer behavior or the brand what he wants. He may or he it is not to his liking. When an organization takes a strategical call, that brands may or may not be there in the six. And then let me take to the my I will carry on with my professional journey. So by now Unilever merged all their companies, Brook Bond, Lipton, Ponds, and everything. So I started working in the Unilever setup in the Walls ice creams business. So I had got great exposure in terms of finance, supply chain, factory sales, all those things, which helped me to really understand what are the customer preferences. And when you know the product, and this is the product, and this is what is going to land in a consumer or a customer hand, so you know that basically what he would want. When you know all the functions, when you are able to see a chocobar or a cornetto coming out of a machine, and you know what are the process involved and how it will come, how it will and maintaining the cold chain, how ideally it should go to the customer. So those experiences, when you get into all those things, you get that experience and the feeling of how your customer will perceive your product. Then I was there with Unilever till 2007. Before that, I moved to a different function in tea factory. I was heading in Gujarat 2-3 factories. I was handling the commercial function and supply chain function. And then in 2007, regional commercial manager in South. I was handling the South region. Now, if you look at again, I landed in a difficult business where basically this was actually the Lays and Kurkure business, where we used to transport more air than the product. If you load a full truck of Lays or a Kurkure in a truck, in a 10-ton capacity truck, you will see that basically you have actually loaded only 3.5 tons of material. Again, this is a different product, different category, a lot of challenges. You are when you're the supply chain challenges. How do you reach the product at a better freight cost, productivity, all those things. This happens here. Then basically I was in commercial function. Then I moved to a different function where to handle the government business. I became the GM for the institutional business of PepsiCo, which included the juicer, the Pepsi soft drinks, and everything. Here again, I was handling the army, police, all those. They have the canteens and everything. So the families get these products, buy these products on concessional rates. So there, basically, here again, the if you look at the sort of a customer you get, is these people are very low earning income group. 97% of the Javans are the families of the Javans are the customers here. They're very, very low income group. Now, they also have they have a system of coming every month twice to those canteens to do their groceries. They have a cap on their cards. You can buy only this much amount at a particular time. So this is where basically you have to reach the right product there. Something which lasts your household for 15 days. Something which is basically which is little price lower, so that basically he can accommodate all the products within that cap of 6,000. So these are many companies went and put like oats, this oats category does very well in these channels. So what they do is they put some 1 kg oats in these channels, and it so happened that all these if you go to any medical CSD canteen or today, you will see that these oats are some 3 months old, 4 months old, whereas smaller packs are 200 grams or 500, 400 grams, which would have which will sell very fast. So this is how you choose the product, understanding the customer and understanding his customer's ability to pay. So this happened. Then I left Pepsi in the year 2015. with my experience in this channel, I started on my own. I started helping the companies, associating with companies in setting up the right processes in these channels, because you need to understand the right processes, the right pricing, so that the business need to be become viable. So I'm now connected with brands like Philips, Hershey's, Right Bite, GRB, then your Manna Foods, the Southern Health Foods, and I'm also in talk with many other brands. And this COVID time has given me opportunity in a lot of connecting with a lot of people, and definitely I would be signing up with another 10-15 brands in the once this thing is over, because this channel people expect somebody who can handle this, who can set the right processes. Once you set the right processes, it is only question of supply, demand and supply. That if you take care, you can scale up the business fast. Now again, I also do due diligence, market due diligence for companies like ITC, where they appoint distributors. So they want somebody like me who understands the market, who understands people. So they want me to evaluate and give them, because ITC businesses, investments are 5 crores, 6 crores. Somebody, if you bring in a wrong person into this, what will happen is, if that distribution collapses, to bring back that distribution, that business, it takes some 5 to 6 months. So that is why they want somebody. So I would have done almost 2,000 evaluations till now for ITC. Also, basically, we have in this COVID has given me an opportunity to talk with people, and we are like-minded people. We are starting a startup very recently, where an app-based startup where the manufacturers, hotels, service providers, everybody will be there, and we are planning a household doorstep service to all household. In each pin code, we have hired people, entrepreneurs who would participate in this, and we are likely to give employment to more than 3,000 to 4,000 direct and indirect people in the days to come. And this has an opportunity to also, we can scale up to other cities and other towns. And some of my LinkedIn posts now, people are coming from Bangladesh and saying that, sir, can we have this? So this is what is basically my brief this thing about my introductions. Now coming back to the subject, how and why does a customer behavior change? Now, how do you change customers' behavior? Number one, it is not simply via digital or TV advertising or promotions or other traditional methods. It's something deeper. You need to influence the place where instinctive, automatic decisions are made. Today's buyers are very busy. They don't have time or energy or, basically to weigh the merits of one item over the other in a store or online. They grab or click a favorite, move on. An estimated 90% of the purchasing decisions are made instinctively today. To get customers to choose your brand, you need to build a positive impression that reaches them on a subconscious level. This means discovering the images and stories that build positive associations with your brand in their minds, which is called the subconscious drivers. The moment people look at your brand, and what thoughts, what images, what experiences and feelings pop into your mind, into their minds, is very important. Then if you look at the people, basically there's a concept of emotional marketing. The people talk about, try to implement this. They try to reach the consumers on this level through emotional marketing, which is partly, which is basically, in most of the cases, these emotional marketing efforts have failed. Just taking a buyer on an emotional journey through an ad that makes them laugh or cry is often irrelevant to the brand or a business. Emotional benefits only work if they are rooted in your product experience. So it is very little surprise that many Super Bowl ads, like, basically they give a bowl and, you eat it and all. When the actual product reaches that customer's hand, the ball will be half filled, and you have just, basically killed his expectations. So these are emotional marketings are very, very, we have to be very careful in handling in the current situation where the consumer thinking and expectations are going on. So the key for a customer to feel a positive connection with a brand, it is not to communicate emotions. You have to actually, it has to be a emotional connections from coming from tapping into positive familiar ideas in consumers' memories. Then next comes the communicating expertise. uh, you know uh, I was actually I worked with one of the brand. uh, they were doing the communication right, but somewhere there was, the product was not doing well. Then, basically we have to we just change the strategy of the marketing strategy of the thing, where, basically we included some language correction in the language, the images, and some even music, please pleasant music to those campaigns. So which basically helped which helped basically the to perceive the product on the subconscious level of the consumer, and it delivered good results in terms of, some sales growth happened. There is also, basically in the market there is a people think that, basically each customer is different. We will do campaigns for each customer. We will differently. Sir, you will add more cost to you, and it will not help. We have to actually focus and treat all the customers alike. Because they are going to take your product, the similar product, which may reach a person in a posh post garden residence, or some house in North Chennai, or something, a lower middle class house. So you have to be, your product campaigning and all those things should be in such a way that you treat all the customers alike. Then only, basically the product will reach mass. A little bit of this is how, basically we these are the things, basically there's change in the marketing strategies people have to bring in to basically understand and to respect the consumer behavior. You have to give a seamless shopping experience. There are some today, like there are places where consumer goes, he picks up a product in his this thing, a tray, automatically billing happens. He just walks based on his telephone or whatever this thing. He picks up the stocks and immediately the billing happens. So these are the seamless type of shopping experience today the consumer wants. They don't have patience. They have a lot of other things to do. They have, the social media has kept them busy. They have to attend to so many things in social media. So they require seamless, anything seamless they want. Companies have to go multi-channel, because now this COVID has created see, earlier our normal, if you look at the business trends, online used to, any company, if you talk about any company, like a bigger companies, who have a lot of products in the FMCG category, if you look at it, like a company like Unilever, their 3% or 4% used to be the online business. 11 to 12% is the modern trade, and the balance, the 85% or 80% of the business lies with the local kirana, local shop, the chettiar shops, and all this. So, but now post-COVID, what is happening? The people's expectations are changing. They have restrictions to move around. So then, basically more on the channel which is they would prefer. So this is what the changes every company needs to adopt to meet the customers' expectations. Nowadays, voice search also, they want in the mobile, they just want product to be, they will tell the product and voice search will come, and the product will pop in. So that is also again a thing which is which has become a trend now. You have to actually build and maintain the customer loyalty. Always not digital. There has to be some human touch to this. Despite these growing digital trends, consumers still want a relatable, relevant, personal experience in the form of, say, information, human interaction. Still, the right personal approach that people look for. Sometimes, a discussion can convince over the phone, can convince a customer. The key is to be able to seamlessly combine the two, digital and human aspects, to have more chances of success. Technology can be used to improve this function. Your customer base can be segmented carefully by analyzing data, and based on this, your customer's experience can be personalized. For instance, your most loyal customer can be identified digitally, and then a personalized thank you note can be sent to them. Health consciousness. This is becoming very, 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 very apparently a customer desire. Health consciousness and environmentality awareness. Business should keep in mind that nowadays more consumers consider total well-being and care for the environment to be important. They are concerned about both their external surroundings and their physical and mental health. Sustainability encourages customers to favor a brand more than those that do not promote health and the protection of the environment. For example, in the Philippines, there was a recent study where a growing number of fast food restaurants have refrained from using plastic straws, or appealing to customers who support environmental awareness is very important. So this is the businesses, need to have a deep understanding of customer behavior in order to achieve their goals. Nowadays, the focus is on the integration of technology, but at the same time, we need to maintain the balance between the digital and human touch. The key is to make adjustments according to what your customer want. The best way to do is that by letting them guide your decisions in growing your business. So we will see, these are the basically the thing about the customer behaviors and what we can do. But the reality, if you look at the reality, is what happens is, in an organization, do you think that all the decisions are based on customer behavior? No, it is not. Days of customer is always right is gone today. Yes, sir, you are right, but we can offer you better. That is more relevant today. Do you think a customer always looks at a pricing? No, because see, people have money. See, what has happened is this digital, this IT and all those IT boom has brought even in the rural and all those northeast people are coming, taking employment here. They have also become cash rich now. So it is basically what they do, what they want. See, if the pricing would have been always a criteria, then today Nirma would have been a bigger brand than Surf. It is in the rural, in the urban areas, pricing nowadays don't matter, unless you send your wife and ask her to buy. She may go look around what is most of the things she will buy, which is offering this thing. But normal customer, normal people, basically, if you look at it, they don't have time. They just pick up what they know, what is there in their mind. This brand, this is this thing. They pick up and come. They don't negotiate also nowadays. Nowadays, people don't negotiate also very for pricing. So, but in the rural, what happens? Go customer, like in the this category, there are some ghadi detergents, Fena. They're doing fairly very well. And do you think they don't actually they're lower priced, but what they do is they mostly concentrate on giving more money to the retailer. So there, the customer has very limited, opportunity to buy what he wants. If Fena gives a better pack, a better, additional discount for to the retailer, he will keep Fena. He will not touch the other Ghadi brand or anything. And next week, Ghadi comes with one more scheme, so he will take away Fena and he will have Ghadi. So the customer will have multiple options. He may be wanting to buy Fena, but he may not get it. So these are there in the challenges around the rural, but that is also changing. That is also today changing. Customers are okay. You're not there having Fena, so I will go to the next shop. So that is what that attitude is now changing. Now, see, if you get a brand in our urban, if you go to one shop near your house, and if you go for a search for a particular brand, if you don't get it, what happens is next time you have a perception in your mind that brand will not be available. So you go to the other this thing, even though he might have ordered for that brand. So this is what the how it works in the market. Do you think attractive packing? No. Even attractive packing, because attractive packing, it will help once customer will pick it up, and then basically will cut. If he's not getting what he wants, the taste or the utility, he will not touch it next time. You can give whatever, and you can do all those innovations in packing, but he will not touch that brand. So it's basically a marketing strategy is always, is complete activity. It has to be a complete activity, keeping in mind the end consumer, the customer in mind. From conceptualization of the product, okay, which is triggered mostly by the aspirational growth target of the organization. So that they can enhance their profits and so that they can grow. Then they link all those, because they have some strategy to build the business. That comes first. Then only they talk about how, okay, this is my strategy. This is within that strategy, how do I bring those customer behaviors. Again, most of the time, customer is actually becomes a guinea pig for these aspirations. We have to understand the process involved in entire marketing strategy, which has to satisfy not only the end consumer, end customer. It also has to host all the internal and external customers within the supply chain, value chain. Customer behavior is very, very, mostly instant. As I said earlier, it's not very planned. So it always depends on where he is, where he was during the day, where he's going to be in the next 2 to 48 hours. His decision to buy mostly depends upon his instinct and what is his immediate need, and of course the money, whatever he's having in his wallet. Hence, it has become very important. The distribution weight and availability of shelf has become very, 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 very important today. See, I'll tell you what happens in any organization from my experience. See, if any organization says, no, this is my customer behavior in the market, we will give these products at these prices, these attractive, packing material, this huge visibility and all. If that is a strategy, that company will become diwala in no time. The first trigger which happens in an organization for strategy for growth is actually the source of growth. That is a terminology people use in that organization. See, common reality in any organization, if you look at it, 20% of the products deliver 75% of the business. So you have to protect that, number one. And that also becomes a growth aspiration for that product. So what they do is normally a company, most of the companies want to grow double digit. Double digits is the mantra for all the companies in their growth aspirations. So what they do is, okay, this is my 20% of the product, which is giving me 75% of the growth. So this product should grow much more than my total growth aspiration of the company. So if the growth aspiration say 10%, they pitch in for a 15% growth for these products. But mind you, all the fast selling products, okay, will have actually lower margins. So if you sell more of products which are lower margins, what you'll learn, you will reduce your profitability, and you have to touch what? You have to get into productivity. Because the product is selling, it has established the selling price or a MRP in the market. So if you touch even from a 5 rupees to a 6 rupees, there can be the customer may or may not buy. So what happens is, very, very interestingly, actually, I've seen this. Very interestingly, what happens is, the productivity starts from the factory, and they will first touch how do I bring my factory costs down? So first they will touch the canteen expenses. Can we change the contractor so that, basically he's currently giving a meal at 12 rupees. Can we reduce something we can give it at a 10 rupees? So these are small changes, small productivity opportunities. They look at this thing. Or can we reduce a little bit of grammage? But actual reality is what happens, they will implement it, factory and they implement it. But one week, your market share goes up by 0.25% or 3%. The people in the sales or the marketing, they will go and do a party in 5-star, and they will spend whatever this factory has struggle to save. So this is what in the real organization, so many things happens like this. So the second set, the growth growth driver would be that they will look at the balance. Out of the balance, 80% of the products, the bottom line, which contributes to 10% of the volume, they will say, oh, these products are not doing well, we have to change this. So how do you change it? Here the idea of innovation comes. Okay, these are the 10 products, 15 products, which is at the lower pyramid, lower end of the pyramid, which is not giving me volumes. So can we replace these products with something else, a new innovation? Then what happens is, management says, yes, good, innovate. You go to market, get consumer feedback and all those things, and what is the product you have to put? You just want to introduce, so put it, plan for it. So here the management will say, yes, but this product is giving you 10% of the volume currently. It should add to another 5. It should add overall 5% growth to this entire organization aspirational growth. So this is how the second set of products are decided. And the third set of products, which is another 15%, 25% of the products, which is basically the another set. There they will say, no, let it be there. It will support my other products, other SKUs, other this thing. So what we'll do, we will have a very, very soft growth targets. We have 5% of growth in the next year or something. So overall, if you look at it, 75% of the contributor will have a growth plan of around, say, 15%, which is actually, 75 becomes a 86.25. Then 10% of the contributor, which will, which will have which needs to be taken out, and new innovation has to come down, which will have a 5%, which will contribute to overall 5% growth to the organization, which will contribute to 15. So 86 plus 15. Then the 15% of the contributor, which will grow by, say, 5%, minimum growth, which will have contribute to 15.75. This is how.
Sir, extremely sorry, sir. Apologize to interrupt you, but we're a little hard pressed for time. So just about another couple of minutes or so, sir. Just wanted to keep you.
Definitely. I'm just ending. I'm just closing it. Okay.
Great. Sir. Thank you.
Give me 2 minutes. So this is how the overall business. This is how the overall business of 100, becomes 117, which is again, overall growth of 17%. So this is how, and this is the factor actually decides what products should go into the market. And then they marriage the growth plans with the consumer behavior and to implement these growth strategies. 17% growth is always becomes a non-negotiable in any company. What is variable is different perceptions about customer behavior. Customer said this, he wanted an opinion about this product, will become the thesis in the organization. And strategies are formulated, launch plans are done. Then in all these activities changes every day. Most of the plans remains within the office conference room and does not get implemented. Here also a lot of egotism happens in these organizations where people will discuss this plans and everything. You have not told me anything earlier. You have not included me. You have not aligned me. All those egotisms all will happen in this. Definitely, most of the success, people will join together and celebrate. Where failures, people are blamed. So these cultures are actually main reasons for these cultures in organization is this. And all this also sometimes it creates some of the activities create a good team bonding, which HR will go and take a pride and tell every platform that we have done this. See, end of the day, everybody's performance is judged only on the constant factor of 17% growth. So this is how organization, the reality of the organization. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. We can talk. This is a broad subject. We can actually normally I use a lot of inspirational videos and this case studies, but that is when we go for a 1-day session or a 2-day session. Thank you all for patient hearing, and any doubts, anything, I'm willing to answer.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Venkataramesh, for taking us through your journey step by step. And I think experience is the mother of all teaching. So you've really shared and imparted that hands-on experience with us. Thank you so much, sir. So we have one question by Mr. Ahmed, which asks, what type of businesses are heavily affected due to this given circumstance?
All which is not necessary has got affected.
Absolutely.
The beverages business, the ice cream business, all those things. Whatever is, say, Parle Britannia is doing very well because the biscuits are doing very well. Yes. Eatables are doing very well. People are actually consuming as well as taking for precaution. They are taking storing more, buying more. So these are the businesses. The anything which is digital, which is an online platform, has done very well. So that is a future for also.
Absolutely, yes, sir. Absolutely agree. And people are also like Mr. Rajkumar had also mentioned. The approach of consumers is also changing. It's no longer capitalistic. And like you said, if you're a non-essential business, then it's a little difficult given the current situation. So I think that's about it, sir. And due to the shortage of time, we're going to have to stop now. Thank you so much, Mr. Venkataramesh, for taking time off and for being with us today, addressing our faculty and students, and really giving us a hands-on experience, with your vast array of experience in various MNCs. Thank you so much, Mr. Venkataramesh, for joining us.
Asha, one more thing, actually.
Yes.
I wanted to share one small photograph in this screen. Okay.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Just I missed my introduction there. Or okay, I will tell you. So I am also into media, in film acting and all. So I was the person arrested Rajinikanth in the movie Robo. I was the commissioner of police in that movie.
Oh, okay, that's lovely. So a person with many laurels to his credit, sir. That's lovely. Thank you, sir, for sharing that information.
So I'm currently working with Tamil, Bengali, Hindi movies. So.
Okay, that's great. Really shows that you can diversify, in all your interests. So, and a true living example we have with us. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us today. Yes. With that, we have our next speaker who's already on the sidelines. So I would like to welcome Mr. Samuel Harris to join us today. Thank you, sir, for being with us. I extend my gratitude. So a little bit about Mr. Harris. Sir is the director at TIKE and former head postpaid business of Bharati Airtel. After 10 plus years of working with corporate, Mr. Harris founded TIKE. It offers innovative products and resources to schools with a vision to nurture students' character and career. Sir holds a PGDM in Marketing and HR. Currently, as the founder and director, he drives the overall strategy and operations at TIKE. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us today, and I hand the session over to you.
Thank you, Professor Ankita, for the introduction. Nobody could ever promote our company the way you did till now. Thank you so much for that. I hope I'm audible and clear. I would be starting off with sharing my screen. Just give me a minute. Good morning. It's so good to be here, and I would like to thank all the three organizations that have put together this online summit. It's very good to talk with you all to this event after my good friend Raj and Sir, who was talking about his experience in detail. To start with, this is the flavor of the season. I hope I have not picked up any of your photo in this collage, but this is our life way forward. We don't see a relief from this appearance anytime soon, and I hope you're all getting set and prepared for it. There is something that is trending alongside COVID. This is one event where I would be asking you a lot of questions, but I wouldn't get any answers because I'm only staring at my screen. So what is that? It's nothing but the webinars. The number of webinars that we attend, that we speak, is also trending alongside COVID-19. In fact, the other day, my daughter was asking me, Papa, why you are looking at the screen of your computer and talk to me? That's how weird situations have got us into. So webinars are the norm of the day. There's going to be a peak in learning, and that's a good news. I'm here today to add one more webinar to your lives, to talk about the paradigm shift in consumer behavior. Paradigm shift in consumer behavior is a very critical topic to think about, because there's going to be a pre-COVID, post-COVID scenario as far as consumer behavior is concerned. Organizations are gearing up for this challenge. They are strategizing because the scale of this pandemic is unprecedented in our times. And with the kind of technology and other resources that we have right now, it's going to be a very interesting ride, because the lost in momentum right now, it's not going to be forever. When the previous pandemics happened in the world did not have so much resource that it has today. So getting back to life, maybe after 6 months, 10 months, scientists are predicting it's not going to be a great challenge in terms of resource availability, because the resources are available in plenty. A little bit about me. This is one good pic that my wife took some time back, so I make sure that I put it up in every presentation that I do. So there was an introduction that was given in the beginning, so I'm not going to spend much of my time here. I would move on with this next question. So what this number means to you? 11,327,790. What does this number mean to you? These are the number of active COVID cases in the world as of last night. Now, COVID has done one thing to the world. It has brought in a sense of equality. If you see the chart that I'm showing you here, this is a chart that displays the number of countries where you have at least one COVID case. There are only 2 countries. You have 3 here marked as yellow, but as of this week, there are only 2 countries where the spread is yet to get into. One is North Korea, the other one is Turkmenistan, but I really do not know the update as of today about the spread into these 2 countries. But COVID has brought in a sense of equality where every country, however big or small, mighty or not so great in terms of resources have got into this a standard problem the entire world is facing. The pandemic of this scale is not new to the world. If you really look at this chart, we've had worse pandemics in the past, starting from the Black Death, which was in 1347 to 1351. And you had so many other pandemics that hit the world. If you see, COVID started off right at the bottom, 2019, but today it has moved on to something in between swine flu and the Great Plague. Today you have about 5.5 lakh death reported across the world. So it is slowly racing ahead. And I only hope that we all fight this battle together, because relatively this is an easier battle to fight if we make sure we practice certain personal discipline and hygiene activities that are told to us. Let me stop right here in my talk about COVID, and I just want to move on towards the topic of the day. When I move on to the topic of the day, I'm forced to look at the macro indicators globally. When we talk about consumer behavior, we cannot ignore what's happening across the globe. The macro level indicators have to be factored in. So I'm going to straight away go to what World Economic Forum had projected as the most likely fallout for the world due to this pandemic. If you see, out of the top 10, 7 fallouts are in the economic front. There's only one fallout due to technology, one on geopolitical, and one on societal. 7 factors are going to affect the economy of the world, starting from recession to bankruptcies in various countries, large companies and SMEs, failure of industries or sectors, for that matter, sectors like hospitality. There's going to be a big problem in recovery. High level of unemployment. You already are hearing a lot of companies laying off people, especially young people. If you look at the next 3 economic problems that World Economic Forum is projecting, it's on the fiscal positions of various countries. That's going to be a problem, because a lot of money is going into the relief work of COVID-19. Then you have a major supply chain issue globally, right? Because transportation is coming into a very challenging scenario of moving goods. So supply chains are taking a big disruptive hit. Economic collapse of emerging markets. Developing economies are going to go through a very tough period, is what the World Economic Forum is projecting. If you see as I told you, if you see the top 10 fallouts for the world, 7 are in the economic front, and that is an interesting case for us as we look at consumer behavior today. Now, what did the IMF project? The IMF projects that the global economy is going to go down by 4.9%. The growth is going to be on the negative side, 4.9%. Advanced economies like US and other countries are going to contract by 8%. Emerging and developing economies, in which India falls, is going to degrow by about 3%. So there's going to be a global crisis on the growth front. Economies are not going to grow this fiscal year. So that's going to be a big problem. World Economic Forum and IMF projects the same sentiment as far as economies are concerned during this pandemic. If you look at the spread dashboard, keeping in mind the economic factors that I shared with you, some of the growing economies are in orange. If you see India, for that matter, let's talk about India. It's in orange. It's not very deeply affected, but at the same time, the effect, the infection rate is not low. It is quite moderate. Take a look at America, the largest consumer economy in the world. 5.8 million people are affected by COVID. So if you put this dashboard, COVID dashboard, against the economic numbers that I had projected, there's going to be a sad story. Some of the economies that can really spend are going to contract, and there's going to be a problem in terms of consumer behavior there. Finally, I would like to take a cut of what IMF projected, and I would like to tell you this, that the only part of the world where there's going to be a little bit of growth is the emerging and developing Asia, which is predominantly the Southeast Asia. So rest all parts are going to have a problem. United States, Europe, Middle East, Latin America, Africa, everybody are going to go through a bit of a dip as far as their growth projections are concerned. Finally, I would like to bring in this summary of what is the global trend that COVID-19 is accelerating. Number one, it's going to bring in what do I call as a very large size of inequality on the wealth front. Inequality on the wealth front primarily going to be driven by the middle class people taking a hit in their salaries, poor people migrating to places where they were not working. So all this is going to bring in inequality in terms of earnings. The second trend that it brings out is disruption. Nobody was prepared for a hit of this kind. No single country, no single company, however big they are, mighty they are, were not prepared for this kind of a disruption. The power of big companies will emerge now. Companies like Amazon, companies like Microsoft, as you already see, are able to grow because their products are going to be extensively used during these times. As far as age, the demographic factors are concerned, young people are going to be affected more, and that's not a great story for India specifically. Many of them are going to lose their job, and there's going to be a problem on the age front. The other trend that comes out is polarization. There's going to be a growing nationalism during this pandemic time. You have already seen the largest economy closing their country for other people. They wouldn't want to encourage other people coming in and taking away their jobs. There's going to be a bit of a polarization here. That's not a great news for anybody in the world. Finally, trust on the institutions is going to come down effectively. Nobody could predict a pandemic, which is a big failure of the institutions across the world. Some time back, Mr. Bill Gates gave out a prediction saying that the world is not definitely prepared for a pandemic. And he also went on to say that if there is something that can affect the entire world significantly, it's going to be a pandemic that we are not prepared for. So these are some of the trends that we can pick out across the world basis the economic factors and the impact of various economies in the world. Now, I would like to bring in our focus into certain sectors where there's going to be a large impact negatively. Industries are going to take a big hit. Some industries are really growing. For that matter, you take e-commerce is starting to jump back and gaining momentum. But look at some of the industries here. I'll draw your attention to the industries that are marked black, which are more affected due to COVID, and they have a higher financial risk as well because their long term is not really clear, and the outlook of how they would bounce back post COVID is also not clear. Take a look at industries like accommodations, which is hotels and restaurants, the food services, arts, entertainments, recreation is going to take a big hit. We are not really sure about when we would be able to go to a movie theater to watch movie. Educational services, while there is a big boom of online classes, it is just a stopgap. Education institutions are yet to come in terms of what can be the right replacement to ensure proper learning, effective learning during the times of COVID when there is a significant lockdown. Transportation and warehousing, wholesale trading, all that is going to be having a higher financial risk as far as the recovery is concerned, as far as the long term is concerned. They're also the most affected industries. So this is how COVID is affecting various sectors. But if you see some of the sectors which drove consumer behavior and consumer spends in the last few years are a few of these sectors. People started spending more on travel, leisure, and eating outside. People started spending more on entertainment. You now have an entertainment budget for a family, which wasn't the case before. So some of these sectors is where there was an increased consumer spend till some time back, and COVID is going to affect them badly, and there's going to be a higher financial risk for them as they bounce back. With these macro indicators in mind, I would urge you to start looking at consumer behavior and the trends that are going to emerge in consumer behavior. Now, don't be worried. We are nearing the last slide. I'm not going to take much of your time. I know that I am the last speaker for this session, so I'm standing in between you and the lunch. Stay intact. We are just a few slides away. Now, let's look at consumer behavior. And as we look at consumer behavior, all I would say is that I'm not going to look at industry level, country level prediction here. I'm going to look at, again, a macro level prediction and how consumer behavior trends are going to emerge post-COVID. Now, I would like to start off with this slide of how COVID-19 is changing consumer behavior. I'm going to be showing you something, a data which sometime back Raj had shared with you. I'm going to dwell a little more on that data. Now, there are 4 consumer segments that he was presenting to you. The same is what I would also be sharing with you. It's a prediction or a study that was done by Ernst & Young, and these are the 4 consumer segments that emerged during COVID-19 crisis. 35% of people wanted to save and make sure that they're stocking up, for the worst. 27% took a cut deep, a very deep cut, because these are people who were foreseeing loss of job, who were not really seeing any business in the COVID season, who are not clear about recovery post-COVID as well. 26% of the people stayed calm because they were getting their salaries, their business was still making money, and they were just carrying on. There were this 11% who really impacted the consumer spend during the COVID season. Those were the people who were just hibernating, who were not really sensitive to what is happening as far as COVID is concerned, but they were just continuing to spend. Now, this 11% is a very significant number during COVID, which was otherwise big before COVID. Now, what's going to happen, post-COVID, after COVID crisis? Ernst & Young predicts that there are going to be 5 different segments. Now, 4 consumer segments are going to move into 5 different segments, and this is what they say. There's going to be people who will get back to normal, who are 31%. 22% people would stay frugal. They would say, okay, fine, we have gone through a tough time. We have learned our lesson. Let's remain very practical. Let's be conservative. Let's not jump the gun and start spending. Now, you have about 25% of people who are going to be extravagant. Raj was rightly putting it out, saying these are people who are going to be paying a premium for whatever they spend on post-COVID. They are going to be really going all out. These are the kinds of people that you see who post a lockdown would barge into a supermarket and would pick up everything that comes by their way. Now, you have about 13% people who would continue the deep cut that they took during COVID. They are going to be more sensitive to saving. They are going to be making sure that they don't spend much. They cautiously look at their credit card bills. They cautiously look at their spending pattern and make sure that they're going to cut their spending. Then you have the 9% who would come back with a bang. They are going to be just waiting with their cash bag and their credit cards fully armed to just go back after the lockdown is lifted for a big spend. Now, these are the trends that are projected by Ernst & Young as far as consumer behavior is concerned during the crisis and post-COVID crisis. Now, I would like to show yet another interesting slide connected to this slide to tell you how this move is going to be. Now, I said 4 consumer segments are going to become 5 consumer segments after COVID. Now, how this transfer is going to be like? Now, let's look at this chart. It's a very interesting chart. Now, if you look at the 4 consumer segments that I told, which are in the left side, hibernate and spend, save and stockpile, stay calm, carry on, cut deep, and you have the 5 post-COVID consumer segments on the right side. Now look at how this transfer is going to be. In every layer on the left side, you're going to see a significant cut as people move to the right side. Now, we all live in a very crazy world, that can be seen by looking at this chart. If you see, there's going to be a major shift all out, and every consumer segment is going to touch every 5 consumer segment on the other side. Now, some of the interesting shifts that I want to look at is people who are hibernating and spending would continue to spend. More than 35% of them would continue to spend. They are now spending. They're going to be spending with the bang post-COVID. Now, people who are yet another interesting trend is people who are saving now, you see, are going to be extravagant the moment the COVID crisis is kind of recovering, and the lockdowns are going to be lifted off completely. Now, each trend left side is going to have a varied shift of people moving to the right side. Now, this can be a very important point that every marketeer, every industry should keep in their mind as they put their budgets and products up for up for sale, or put it out in the market post COVID. Now, the early trends after as far as the city that I live is concerned, Chennai, which most of you are from, yesterday post the strict lockdown, we have different types of lockdown, as you all know. You have a strict lockdown, you have a general lockdown, you have a lockdown within a lockdown. There are varieties of lockdown. Yesterday, the strict lockdown was lifted in the city, and you could really relate a lot of people getting back to normal. You could really relate to a lot of people getting back to the market with a bang, right? And that's the scenario now, right? And with this, I'm going to be presenting you. This technically is the last slide, but I'm going to be spending a little bit of time in this slide. The consumer trends this decade, basis our understanding of the consumer behavior, basis our understanding of the macroeconomic indicators that we presented at the beginning. So this is going to be the consumer trend this decade post-COVID. I'm going to put out 7 points, which is also picked up by a study and basis our understanding of the indicators and the consumer behavior shift. 1, there's going to be a lot of focus among consumers on their well-being. Now, people are going to be really going serious about their physical and mental wellness. There's going to be a lot of spend that would take a part of people's budget towards well-being. Well-being is going to be a major focus area for consumer brands as well. There are already brands that are shifting their focus. Raj was also mentioning that Fair and Lovely is becoming Glow and Lovely, right? So there's going to be a lot of focus on well-being. Campaigns are going to change post-COVID, focusing on people's well-being. There's going to be a significant spend that you will see on this area. Till now, as far as India is concerned, well-being was not considered as an area of focus. Maybe physical, whenever we are sick, we look at a hospital. But as you see now, there's going to be a picking up trend as far as the medical health checkups are concerned, there are going to be a lot of people who are going to line up for their medical checkups, the master health checkups. There's going to be a big demand for that. There are also mental wellness sites, websites, and online mental wellness solutions that are picking up now. I was talking to a friend of mine who runs one such company, and she was last 3 years. So this company is a very young company funded by I got an interruption message. Hope you are able to see the presentation on the screen. Well, I'll carry on with this. So there's going to be a lot spent on mental and physical well-being. Secondly, surroundings. There's going to be a lot of focus on how people are going to connect with their external environment. There's a larger prediction on how the future homes are going to look like. There is already a talk about more people working from home, so the offices are going to be different. Outlets are going to be different going forward. The retail outlets that you see now will take a big change as far as how they look, as far as how they give experience to customers. Surroundings are going to be a major focus for consumers post-COVID. Now, one good example can be that the pandemic brings in a lot of hygiene factors into our day-to-day life, especially while you shop. So when malls open up, when retail outlets open up, they are going to bring in a lot of change as far as surroundings are concerned. Homes are going to be looking different. There's already a space constraint as well. Now, with that space constraint, the home segment is going to really innovate and have a complete change going forward. Offices, you all know, is completely different. I'm talking right now from my from my office, which is a small part of my home. Working from home. So surroundings are going to be a big change as far as consumer trends are concerned. Thirdly, this is going to be a big and a very big intervention in the consumer lives going forward. Technology. Every industry is starting to embrace technology, right from education to shopping to the fast-moving consumer goods. Everybody are quickly jumping into technology. TCS reported that their digital business, which is a business that supplies digital solutions to various organizations and industries, are taking a big jump. So technology is going to influence the post-COVID consumer trend significantly. If you are a company and you're not going to be embracing technology, but you think that you will wait for things to recover post-COVID, you're going to be losing out there. Especially, I think of schools that think that post-COVID, we will again get back to a classroom kind of a scenario. That's not going to be anytime soon. So technology is going to bring in a big shift in the consumer trend post-COVID. Fourthly, there's going to be a big focus among consumers on their rights. They want to be respected, they want to be protected, and they also want to be supported. So which means that the organizations focused on product launches would keep in mind the sensitivity of people's rights. There's already a lot of thinking going on in this front. You all know about the shifts that are happening globally on the rights front. Let me also just give you one simple example. We are all known for signing off forms that are given by various companies when you subscribe for their service. And when you sign a form, you accept 1,000 terms and conditions that are printed in the smallest font sizes behind the form. Nobody looks at it. Now, going forward, with technology coming in, these things are going to change. You are not going to anymore sign without going through the terms and conditions in detail. And these terms and conditions cannot be in smaller fonts going forward. There's going to be a big focus on consumer rights. and people are going to be really bothered about their rights as they move forward. So companies have to be really sensitive, be sensitive to this. Fifthly, identity. You see a lot of customization coming into many companies. Some of the interesting customizations that I have seen is, you getting a debit card with your photo printed on it, with your customized design, emboldened on it. So there's going to be a lot of such customizations that's going to come up now. Brands are looking at how they can bring in identity to the customer as they pick up their product. I would also like to refer to a friend of mine who started a venture which is supplying a customized mask. If you are somebody who thinks very young about yourself, then you can print a mask that is very youthful. Kids can print a mask for themselves with pictures of Superman and Batman and whatnot. There's going to be a lot of shift in the identity front. So consumers are really going to be focused on their identity, and hence brands have to really keep that in mind. Sixth is value. Now, going forward, if you really see, except for a smaller percentage of people who want to really come back with the bang on their spending post-COVID, many of them are going to be really very clear about what they're putting their money in. There's going to be a lot of value by going forward. People are going to really turn long term as far as their purchase is going to as far as their purchases are concerned. Now, it is not that it has never been there till now. A good number of people were even now focused on value buy, but going forward there is going to be a very significant shift on value-based investment. So people are really going to put their money on something where they see a lot of value. Now, one classic example that comes to my mind is how people are going to really look at climate change issues and put their money towards solutions that are going to be positively impacting climate change. Now, if you are a small home, you were spending on 10 things. Climate change was never in your mind when you were spending. But going forward, home budgets are going to come out with value in mind, value for themselves, value for the society that they live in. Finally, there's going to be a big shift as far as the customer demand on experiences is concerned. Now, you see, this is going to be a bit of a problem for brands, because post-COVID, nobody is sure about when we would be able to open up the entire market for people to come in. Let's say a mall, there's no surety about when people would be able to come in. Now, how brands are going to bring in experience, during the COVID and the recovery season is going to be a big challenge. Consumer focus is moving significantly during COVID to experiences. People want to experience things. So, which is where number 3, technology would play a major role. More companies would start putting money in technology so that they would be able to give a better customer experience. Things like UI and user experience during the purchase would take a lot of focus for companies going forward. So from all the indicators that I was showing you, and from the consumer behavior trend that we saw during and post-COVID, these are some of the points that I feel that there would be a big shift going forward. Trends would emerge in each of the 7 points, and there's going to be a big focus coming on these factors by various companies across industries. Now, this I would like to thank you all for giving away your time to listen to this session. If you have any questions, I would be glad to answer them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel Harris. And I must appreciate you for being bang on with the time. We're at 12:10. We have another 5 more minutes through which we will take our questions by the participants. So as you can see on the screen, our first question is from Ms. Aditi. Has the COVID era increased impulsive buying among the consumers?
In certain areas, yes, especially food. When people are locked down, the only entertainment for them is food. If you see supermarkets during the brief opening up in cities during lockdown, people were literally going and emptying the frozen foods, which otherwise is full all the time, right? So a little bit of impulsive buying is there in every sector, but impulsive buying is triggered significantly by shopping in a brick and mortar model. So it's taken a big hit, but in some sectors, of course, it has triggered. Now, that's where companies would like to fill in with their investments in technology. They want to put their money in technology to trigger impulsive buying, because impulsive buying is a significant trigger for consumer spends. So companies will put a lot of money in technology to increase impulsive buying with a good experience that they would promise using technology.
Absolutely. So just to sort of add on to that, we've also read a lot of articles about how, despite the given circumstances and situations, Amazon is still delivering despite COVID. So it has really pushed Jeff Bezos up the ladder, right? So again, as a result of impulsive buying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We have the next question by Ms. Sharon that asks about what businesses should do to help people out right now during the pandemic.
Okay, this is a bit of extreme. Businesses are meant for making profits, right? And your question says help. So I would like to draw a point that Raj was spending a lot of time on, the first speaker. So he was talking about empathy, right? He was talking about how brands should be more empathetic and be understanding of the customer. Now, a business venture, which is a for-profit venture, cannot take away their eyes from profit, right? Let's be very practical here. They would have the focus on profits. Now, with a focus on profits, if they really have to help people during the pandemic, it's by bringing out products, it's by bringing out services that would be very relevant for for customers as they recover from COVID. There are many brands that have already started doing this work. I do know many manufacturers of various products, into leather, bags, fabrics, have started focusing on coming up with PPEs, right? The personal protective equipments like your masks that are extensively needed across the globe. Our country is also now slowly opening up exports of PPE. So many companies which are otherwise making bags, I was talking about my friend company which was making bags. Now he has completely committed his complete capacity of productions for making PPEs and masks. So that's one way in which you need not dilute your focus on profits, at the same time help people during pandemic. And I hope I answered that question. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. The last question is asks you about fast food giants and how they will cope post the COVID period.
Well, I don't see they have actually had zero business. In fact, Swiggy and Zomato were in full swing. You see the people who were on the move during every lockdown. They were the young boys who were delivering food. But there's going to be a cautious, change in behavior on the consumer front, because COVID has brought in a lot of focus on well-being. I was talking about many people are starting to shift their focus to being physically fit and not eat food that would add their weights, or they are very focused on their calories, right? So there's going to be a challenge here, and if you really see, we have actually copied the West as far as our fast food habits are concerned. So it's here to stay, but there's going to be a temporary slump. It will not definitely zero down. But if the fast food giants can be a little focused on the post-COVID scenario as far as the well-being factor is concerned, they can bring in a lot of change in their offerings. I'm sure there's already a few that's floating around where the offerings have completely changed post-COVID. They're bringing in a lot of well-being factor inside, not just well-being in terms of hygiene, but in terms of their core product as well. So there's going to be a major shift in terms of their focus on well-being post-COVID, and that's how they will find their road for recovery.
Great. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I hope that's answered her question. I'm sure it has. So with that, and again, I must appreciate you, sir. We're bang on time, 12:15. So thank you so much, sir, for being with us today, sharing your insights, and really giving us a very, I would say, intrinsic overview on the different trends that are emerging. Thank you, Mr. Harris, for joining us, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. With that, we've finished with all our speakers for today. The last part of today's session will be a panel discussion. For this, I would like to invite Mr. M. Parvez Alam, CEO, Crescent Innovation and Incubation Council, to be the moderator and take this session forward. Over to you, sir.
Oh, thank you, Professor Ankita. And so, first of all, I thank my fellow course panelist, Mr. Prajwal, who is the director of marketing from Rekindle Automation startup, working on medical device, as well as Mr. Abhishek, co-founder of Indra Labs, which is a startup working in artificial intelligence. So, Professor Ankita, can you bring them on a screen? So, good morning, Abhishek. Good afternoon. Yeah. Good afternoon, Prajwal. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's a time. First of all, it's our privilege to participate in this virtual meet organized by University of Madras and BSA Crescent University, as well as Stella Maris College. We thank all management of all these three institutes, especially Dr. Ayub Khan Dawood, who's the dean from Crescent, who gave us this opportunity, and Professor Ganesh from the Department of Management Studies, who is instrumental in getting this done. I think I was just going through the sessions from the morning. There are a lot of theories about consumer behavior, how things is going to work, what is the post-COVID, all these parameters. So here we are not going to talk about even one slide about anything. I have a great regards for all those theories, but how it's going, what is the practical? So here we are going to talk about what is this ground reality, what we call a ground reality. It's happening. So the two more the co-founders, startup co-founders have joined with me. So just to get a very quick overview about us. So the Crescent Innovation Incubation Council is part of the Crescent University. We support startups, especially who has innovative ideas and products. We help them to get support. We basically provide them support in 3 M's. So the first M is called money, second M is called market, and third M is called mentoring. So money in terms of either it's a government grant or private investments, we will support. Prajwal, no, we have supported them to get 5 lakh government grant from the EDI. Similarly, we are now helping Abhishek to try to get some rice investments from Middle East countries. So either it is government money or private money, we will support depending upon the stage. Second is the market development. We help them to reach out to the market, various market, whether it is a domestic or international market. We help them to connect to the right markets. And third is the mentoring. So that is either a technical mentoring or business mentoring. So this is the 3 things we do. We have 61 startups associated with us, and Abhishek and Prajwal belong to one of those startups. And our startups have put together a valuation of 500 crores. Some of them already raised money outside at almost 40 crores. We have supported to the range of 100 lakhs of government grant. So that's with this very short introduction about what we do. I just want to go on to their content. So while I said that we are supporting 3 M's, so market is the one of the very crucial M which we are supporting. If you see the statistics in India, why startups fail, the first and foremost primary reason, they say 50% of the startup in India today fail because they could not identify a market need. The remaining 30% fail because there is no money. People thought that money is a big problem, but money is the second most problem. The third is the co-founders problem. So 20% remaining fail because there is no proper co-founder, right? So if you see the top chunk of 50% startups fail because they could not identify a proper market need. So that's the important aspect. So with that, in context in mind, so I was just thinking that how this post-COVID market has turned up, right? So that's an important aspect we wanted to understand. So I have so maybe before I start panel, maybe Abhishek and Prajwal, can you give a very brief introduction about your startup, what you are doing? Maybe that gives an context, set the context for all other audience about you. Then we can probably start the questions, right?
So, good afternoon. I'm Prajwal from Rekindle Automations Private Limited. We are a healthcare automation based startup striving to provide world class automation solutions for hospitals in the current sector. Like we all know, hospitals are a little behind, Indian hospitals are a little behind with respect to automation, IoT, and all the tech savvy things with respect to what it is in the Western countries. We want to bridge the gap and make India even better with respect to hospitals to make life easier for doctors and nurses. We want to make the patient safety our major concern by bringing hospitals more intelligent into this whole sector. So that's about my startup.
Thank you, Prajwal. Yes, Abhishek. Abhishek, I think you are on a mute. Yeah. You have to unmute. Yeah.
Parvesh, thank you, Prajwal,
Yes.
for the introduction. Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes. Abhishek, you are audible. Go ahead.
Hello. Is it audible now? Hello.
Yes, I could hear.
Is it audible now?
Yeah.
Hi.
I think
Am I audible now, Prajwal?
Yes.
And Parvesh?
Yeah. Yes, go ahead, Abhishek. Abhishek, can you hear us? Okay. I think you have two devices. Maybe one of this you have to maybe switch off. No, we could not hear you. Okay, so while Abhishek is trying to, no, Abhishek, maybe you have to maybe log in again, or maybe you have to come on a one device. We could not hear you. Prajwal, can you hear him? No.
No, I can't.
Yeah. So now Abhishek is actually, they are specialized in artificial intelligence. In fact, they does a lot of post-COVID thermal image analytics, which they have, already, they have demonstrated it. We are connecting them to various European agencies. Abhishek, still your video is good, but audio, we could not hear you. Something went wrong. We tested good in the morning. Yeah. maybe you can log off and log in. Maybe you can take some help of organizers. Meanwhile, I'll just probably start a dialogue with Prajwal. Prajwal, so I was so I got an opportunity to watch some of the previous sessions. So it's all about consumer behavior. So so from your experience, hardcore startup experience, because you are also in the healthcare, so how the consumer mindset has changed in the past 5 years, and what do you think in the next 5 years going to be, especially we are on the virtual mode. So with respect to hospitals, the last 5 years has been booming day by day because hospital market honestly doesn't run out of business. So it keeps moving up and up forward. When we started our company in 2017, ever since we've been approaching hospitals, and we've always found that hospitals always want to keep spending on technology. The top private hospitals want to keep
Am I
spending
audible,
on
gentlemen?
technology savvy things,
Yeah.
and they want to.
Sorry,
Is good.
Prajwal, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, Prajwal, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Okay. Go ahead. So technology savvy is keeping increasing day by day. So last 5 years have been amazing actually for us personally, because we took our product forward, and a lot of hospitals actually gave the positive nod, and they are like, this is the product we needed. They wanted to spend on technology. They've always had this mindset, but today, because of COVID, there's a huge slump in the whole hospital market itself. We all know hospitals are in a very dire situation today with respect to capital M money. That they have very little money to spend, and for startups like us, it will be even more difficult going forward in the coming years to actually make them understand how important a service we are providing, because all they will come back to the conventional mindset that this is what I want, this is what I require, and not the extensive use of other technologies. We need to sit down with the hospitals, convince them, help them understand how important technology going forward is, because all this while it was a different idea where they have a lot of money, they have a lot of investments. Now with all that coming down, they are only going to look at the crux of the whole hospital technology, which is not with the various startups we all are coming up with. So going forward, it will be a huge task, and virtual mode is the mode going forward. We all have understood that in the last 3-4 months. We can conduct meetings, we can do anything with respect to virtual, and it's all coming into play now.
Happening online.
Right. So with all that keeping into mind, hospitals should be there into that situation in the coming years, and I strongly believe in that. Yeah. So yeah, I think you are one of the, I would say, connected with the COVID and post-COVID related sectors. So now I would probably hear it from Abhishek. Abhishek, probably you can also give a quick 1-minute introduction about Indra Labs. But what we were just discussing is how was the consumer mindset for the past 5 years, and how do you predict in the next 5 years, especially this post-COVID period?
Thank you, Parvez. I hope I'm audible clearly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I'm co-founder of Indra. Indra works in artificial intelligence domain, and of course, AI is like a 50,000 feet level. Talking about AI, I mean, we specifically focus on bringing intelligence to all the photo capturing devices and CCTV cameras, etc. It's like eyes capture the information and brain process it. So we are trying to build that brain behind those countless photo capturing devices, like Prajwal pointed out, right? I mean, on the health tech platform, things are getting virtualized and things are getting intelligent. But today, I mean, if we talk about infrastructure, right? So we need, are we self-sufficient? We're talking about health tech point of view. Are we self-sufficient to give one-on-one services? Not at all. We were never there. And it would be a very ambitious thing to say that, hey, we will reach it in next couple of months or year. Because unless we do not bring that kind of a paradigm shift in terms of how exactly we are serving intelligently, mass patient, while giving that personalized services, using these.
Yeah, I think your voice gone suddenly, Abhishek. Abhishek? So, Abhishek, can you hear us? No, we could not hear you. We could see the video. I think the same problem. Um, so, yeah, Abhishek, maybe I think there is the same issue come up. Yeah, I don't know. This is the challenge of the technology world. While we are talking about how we are going to manage our life in online, this is the type of challenges one would face. Maybe Abhishek, you can probably fix it like how you did. Meanwhile, I maybe take the floor to Prajwal. So, Prajwal, like, how did you, what do you say, can you say some statistics, how you got affected by the market dip because of the COVID? If COVID would not be there, what could be your market? And because of COVID, how this impact has created in your market or in your sales? So I'll just start off with my first product, which is Smart Intravenous Dripper. The dripper helps to cut down blood backflow and air embolisms in saline bottles, bringing maximum safety to the patients. And it also helps to make the whole drip system automated and centralized for the nurses and doctors. Say you can see what drip has how much percentage of liquid left in each and every room. So that's the product we're doing. So we had clinical trials, all that with the help of you, sir, actually, in Chettinad hospitals, and we were almost in the end stages of talking, and we were almost into the hospitals right when COVID broke. COVID broke, and the hospitals asked us to stay put for the period of time because there are a lot of COVID patients coming in. You can't go forward. If only we had 1 more month of extra time, we could have been into the market today, which could have helped us start our sales itself for starting. But because of that, right, March, I think March 1st to second week is when we approached, we got all clearance done. We were approaching hospital correctly this COVID. And also we spoke to Meta Hospital's general manager, also through you again. So these two were a big up for us, but correctly, the timing was the mistake. If only 1 month earlier, we could have gone into the market, and now we could have easily surpassed all the hospitals and taken our product inside. But because of that right time, COVID outbroke in India, we were not able to start our sales much as possible. So that is a very bad thing. So the market dip, it was not the market dip. The market didn't start for us because of COVID. So that was very sad with respect to our personal problem. What is the biggest challenge at the moment is we have the product ready, but we are not able to get into the hospital because of this COVID situation. But what we could do about it is with the hospitals connects we are having, we are able to provide them with the PPE kits, with the other basic masks and N95 masks, so which is helping us running now. It's not. It's we are not under the water yet. We are afloat. But once this COVID ends, we will get up and start running again because this actually opened us an opportunity for understanding a lot more vendors with respect to hospital, a lot more purchase managers of various different hospitals we got into connect because we were able to supply masks. And this was a positive insight of COVID. In fact, although our main product didn't get into the market, today we are more equipped than what we were on March to enter the hospital. So we take it by our stride, and we think this is a learning for us as being in this market, and we believe that we will come back stronger once all this COVID scare runs out.
Yeah. So I think I have been from corporate. I was head of corporate marketing of a large corporate. So we always say the marketing heads should see every threat into an opportunity. So like while COVID has been a threat for all of us, how do you see this can be converted into an opportunity? Because just before me, there is a speaker who is talking about what is the post-COVID market. He says personal hygiene and well-being is going to be the important focus. Like that how this tourism and hospitality crashed. Whereas if you see the winners, So they say post-COVID winners and losers, right? So in this post-COVID winners, fortunately, you are in the health tech sector, and one thing I was very pleasure to say, in not only you, many startups in our CIC, they could adapt themselves in the COVID scenario. I'm sure you can share about your experience. Suddenly you are switching over to selling masks and things like that and whatnot. So how do you see this? How you are approached so far this COVID-13 opportunity, and how are you also going to look at this as a opportunity in the future also?
So initially, how it was helpful for us is we already have a background data of various different hospitals we are working with. So that itself is a boost for us in the starting stages. Say, assuming we are an outsider now wanting to do mask is a highly difficult task. So with the
Yeah.
existing contacts we already created over the period of time, we were able to set a base. Say, for example, to 2, 3 good hospitals, streamlined hospitals, we were able to supply masks. That itself spoke volumes about what work we can do as a company, as Rekindle. So starting with that, we were able to use that as an arbiter for racing our products into the other areas also. So all over India, we were able to supply because, for example, before COVID itself, we were able to supply to Fortis Healthcare in Adyar. So with that, we got into touch with the purchase manager, all the main heads of Fortis, and they became the marketing agents for us as well. That there is people like this doing this. You can go. The trust was built beforehand,
Yeah.
which helped us to pivot easily to this mask and PP. So a Rekindle kit, if you buy, it's a good thing. The trust was very key, and we were able to establish it before the COVID scare. So that helped us leaps and bounds.
That's
Yes, sir.
No, that's an important thing. I think you hit the nail on the head. The trust is important, which you have built pre-COVID period, which is also helping you in the post-COVID. Yeah.
So the possible strategies to make a substantial difference in COVID marketing is you. It's actually very difficult now post COVID. If you are not into the market, then it's going to be really hard. The work should have done. Luckily for us, it happened beforehand. And if it has to happen post,
Yeah,
then
yeah. Just
Yeah,
to
yeah,
add to
yes,
what
Abhishek.
Prajwal is telling, right? So
Yeah.
yes, yes. So I think the session is about marketing strategies, and like Parvez in the very first part of the session 10, understanding a product market fit and problem solution fit is anyways difficult and one of the biggest reasons. Now in this kind of an unpredictable times, if we are trying to discover something new, it's going to be a challenge. So I mean, in the interest of time, of course, I've been facing internet issue. Let me come to the crux of what value add I thought probably I'll bring to the table. I mean, entrepreneurs and academicians and everyone should have a laser focus on the problems which are already evident in the market. Do we really realize that what are the things that we are facing already in the market? I mean, earlier this week, Indian government banned 59 mobile applications citing national security concern. I mean, you understand, when I am not able to connect on internet, I have my mobile phone with a data pack, with my another Wi-Fi network on MacBook. We are talking about not solving an application problem. So the huge opportunity where there is already a market, there is already a problem solution fit, is where these likes of Cam Scanner, where these likes of various share it application, where is likes of TikTok. I mean, it was a population in itself was already there. But was it just a platform? No, these were backed by some of the finest technology. And why these Chinese applications were really good? Because the dynamics in China is very similar to us. They also have flaky internet, tier 2 cities and tier 3 cities, where understanding the concurrency of the users, flaky bandwidth, and then understanding that there are so many umpty number of devices, people are not internet savvy, etc. They are already coming. And then comes the all AI and machine learning, that how you can keep engage those housewives who are also on TikTok, who are becoming a star over there, and then also those college kids who are also there, and entrepreneurs who are trying to do marketing. And when I'm saying entrepreneurs trying to do marketing, Mintra, in their last EORS sale, they got maximum revenue from doing marketing on TikTok platform. Now, the idea is, as Prajwal pointed out, that and Mr. Parvez said, the toughest thing is to identify new markets. But the entrepreneurs, which we, what we are good at is using common sense. Please see that what is going out there in the market. This is a gold rush movement, what we call in India, gold rush mobile app movement. Because I'll give an example. So this Healthify me, I mean, which started as just a calorie tracking application, they are seeing an immense rise in number of sessions people are now doing to do workout at home, to do the fitness. So the consumer mindset, right, has changed from those gold gym who were the top notch, right, who were the top notch. They filed.
Yeah. So, but what Abhishek said is makes sense, because I would say there are post-COVID marketing opportunities. In fact, government has launched in a hackathon, MHRD, that who will make a video conferencing solution, right? So now we are talking about StreamYard, Zoom, and which whatnot. So yeah, Abhishek, I was just continuing. The
Yeah,
government
sorry,
has
sorry.
the
Yes, yes,
government
Parvez.
the government has recently launched an hackathon for startups to solve the problem of video conferencing, right? So who will make the video
Absolutely.
conference better? So there are, I think,
Uh,
while we
there,
are
there are there are people who are already betting up to 1 crore to give
yeah,
this thing grant. And is 1 crore a big amount? To a normal entrepreneur, it would look, hey, such a big amount, but it's absolutely nothing, because the kind of user base it can pull and attract. After all, it's not the revenue, it's the user base market, and it's the consumer market. The more number of
correct.
users you have, monthly active users you have, that is all it matters. 17 million users, but almost, Healthify revenue is close to nothing. CureFit revenue has got dipped. CureFit has also become another platform to host all this health tutorial session. Moving from health to edtech, right? I mean, phenomenal opportunities in edtech in terms of content delivery, online content batching, online tutorial. Earlier, when Swiggy came, housewives started delivering their homemade idlis and samosas, etc., delivered via Swiggy platform. Now,
Yeah,
with learning management platforms getting matured and people coming on those platforms to consume the content, every good guy, every good mom who used to teach their kids, who thinks that they are really good at, they can start doing those tutorials on online platform. The acceptance has changed. I think
yeah,
these are the key patterns which will really drive where we stand and how fast we are able to align ourselves in thing. So we covered health, how exactly, the health, the concern about health. In fact, Harish Samuel was talking about in his previous session the focus on technology. Now,
mm,
technology, people try to mistake when we talk about technology. They think that, hey, what technology we should work. Please understand that technology is a base layer. We are doing webinar. I'm struggling with technology here, right? So technology is a sector agnostic. When people say use technology, it's about using a technology into a sector. Now, what all sector you can enter at this point of time? Of course, edtech is a clear winner by giving, and just to give some stats, I'm not sure how many people here understand Doubtnut. Now, Doubtnut started just 4 years back. It is one of the fastest growing company, and Byju's have offered them at a valuation. So they have a revenue for about, I think, 20,000 US dollar. Probably any startup in CIC, I mean, they'll have more revenue than this. But their valuation, Baiju and Unacademy, they are fighting to get this donut acquisition.
yeah,
Why? What Doubtnut and Donut, I think that the name goes like that. What it does, when a student has a doubt, they can come on that online platform, pay a monthly rupees 399, and can clarify all their doubts. That's it. So you understand, these are simple things, but they have fastest monthly active user acquisition. as we speak, faster
Yeah.
than Healthify Me. Of course, I'm not talking about TikToks of the world. So EdTech, the content delivery, the doubt, and the quality. And since I come from an AI, I see a tremendous adoption in artificial intelligence technology where people are integrating facial recognition. Various entrepreneurs who want to initiate business today, they are connecting with us to bring this AI technology into this health tech space, into this ed tech space, into this fintech space. Now, people who were in travel industry, people who were in hotel industry, it is about accepting that realignment, resilience is a focus. And when Prajwal was sharing his anecdotal story that just about when he was able to get there into the hospitals, things change. Now we all must understand that realigning is the name of the game. And when we are
Yeah.
saying realigning, we must understand that what to realign. So if edtech, online health tech, and fintech are these sectors where things are getting aligned,
Yeah.
use
Yeah.
technology and think simple to leverage the
True.
existing platforms
Yeah.
available. Number one. Number
Yeah.
two, look at the list of 59 mobile applications where exactly you can do a value add, right? It's a gold
Yeah.
rush movement. If in India, the problem is not an opportunity. I really
Yeah.
debate with people. It's not an opportunity problem. It's a problem how much we can encash at this point of time. We
Yeah.
must encash, tap into that, and realign themselves.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
over to
I
you,
think
Parvez.
that's I think the gold rush movement is the one good takeaway for today. But I want Prajwal and Abhishek see while I was CEO of supporting 61 startups. One, I have found there is a problem in the startup mindset. When I came, I when I was working in corporate, what we do is I was in R&D initially, so we could go and do a market survey, then we do a benchmark survey, competitor survey, and then we come and give the input to R&D to develop a product. So basically, to work on any project or develop the product, the market survey and what other competitors are doing plays a role. Whereas here in startups, I see vice versa. It is ulta where people develop a product. They say, "Hey, I am the Uber of the world. Nobody is buying it. Come on, please help us." Right? In fact, we keep saying, "What is this big innovation in Swiggy or our Zomato has created?" Door delivery of food is, it was donkeys. Yes, people were doing. In fact, they are now charging extra delivery charges. But why people invested $1 billion in Swiggy is because the millions of customers, consumers, they are generating every day by day. So the key is that is there any startup mindset problem where because startups are generally techie in nature, are they missing the element of marketing, identifying the market need before they jump into the product? And what is your one tip which you should give it from your experience to the startups? I just want both of your opinion.
Prajwal, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
So, with respect to startups coming into gameplay, like you said, in corporates, it's the other way around. Like it comes from the market to the R&D. But with startups, it starts with R&D and coming down to market and figuring out, oh God, there's no market available. As startups coming into post-COVID, what I would say is for startup learners, for college students, to actually get into the market, see what the market plays, get an intern, work in startups before you starting up a startup itself. So that gives you an idea. Work at startups where like any incubation hubs, like where the whole ecosystem is together. So that will give you a whole time experience, not just one startup's knowledge and powerhouse, but it will give you a whole time experience as to what a whole startup is, and then keep your ideas within what and how to run a positive startup. Then that's how you need to start a startup, because a lot of even we started off with something else and we iterated, understood. We went to IIM Bangalore, did the incubation there. We got to understand what NSRCL thinks about, and then we came into innovation, Crescent Innovation Incubation, understood what in Tamil Nadu startups is about, and all those learnings is like you don't get it outside in college or schools. It's you have to be there in that situation. You have to understand what it goes in, and then over a period of time you learn. So that
yeah,
learning we got through with the process we went across. But
yeah. So
we as
part of the
startups,
Yeah. So part of the ecosystem is the message you wanted to give, right?
Yeah, part of the ecosystem is very important for young startups, entrepreneurs coming into the scene.
Yeah. So what, Abhishek, you want to, sum up on this, what is this
Yeah,
dilemma about
sure,
the
sure.
startup?
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So to be very honest, I think what students and the early stage entrepreneurs, they get misled because of those page 6 on the newspaper, which talks about all the success stories and never talks about those false stories. So to be very honest, I mean, my mentor said that, hey, do marketing, do validate, make the first prototype, go to the market, go with the most ugly version of the product, and as Prajwal pointed, validate it. So if you're in a consumer goods, please, it's such a simple thing. Zero investment. Make a Facebook page, validate it on Facebook pages, validate it on WhatsApp groups, see if people are even ready to give sign up via the email addresses. See, the idea is to validate certain concept in consumer goods is very, very simple. The platforms are very well known. We are also using the same thing, and the Mintras and Flipkarts and Amazons of the world are also using the same thing. The fact that this is a smartphone penetrated market, from watchman to the managing director of Tata, they all are using smartphones. They spend considerable amount of time on smartphone, which is the key platforms are Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, your these are some of the dominant platform. So if you are in a consumer market, like Prajwal pointed, immediately validate what is the idea. And when I'm saying validating, try to see what exactly they are willing to give in return. If you say that I will solve ABC problem for you, are you ready to sign up? I mean, if you're not getting sign up, that I don't think so. I mean, you're reaching to the right segment of people. Okay, now, right, reaching to the right segment of people, I mean, you can never teach, and make someone bring a interest in astronomical things, etc., if they are from archaeology, right? So the idea is, we need to understand who's the target segment, choose the right platform, and do it. Okay, and none of these is rocket science. It's going to the B2B part. If you want to think that, hey, there is an health tech product or a ed tech product or a AI product or a fintech product, find the email ID of innovation head of any potential company with whom you want to work, any CTO, VP, if nothing, product managers. Try to write to some 20, 30, 40 people, and please understand the value of perseverance. We entrepreneurs, we live on that. Is it the hard working which takes us going? Never, never. That is all of us are doing. Is it the positive attitude? No. Is it the motivation? No, it's the perseverance. My mentor said it will take 1 year to become a successful entrepreneur. After 1 year was gone, and we were in so at this point of time, we are one of the top AI startup in India. We have been recognized as global leaders in facial recognition technology. We are headquartered in Bangalore. We have been incubated in Startup Chile program. We have been shortlisted as top 36 AI startup, top 100 most
Yeah.
progressive startups across the world. How much time it took? It took more than 6-7 years. So anyone who says that, hey, you know what, in 6 months you can try this as tricks and tactics, etc., that's not going to work. So if you're in your third year,
Yeah.
ensure that you go with your ugly, bad looking prototype immediately to the market, get some phenomenal feedback, phenomenal critics, and take it with the right attitude. Come and come back and improve that, and then take it to the market. It will take care
Yeah.
of understanding consumer needs,
True.
aligning it, and by that time, because you're going and doing to and fro, your channels to go to market would also be validated. Okay,
Yeah.
and we are very
That,
happy.
true.
CIC, I'll tell you, Mr. Parvez, has been helping all the entrepreneurs from their specific sectors to really share the experiences that how similar entrepreneurs and startup has shared, which is why Prajwal emphasized on ensuring that we learn it from others' mistake. Okay, so validation,
Yeah.
faster going to the market with the prototype, and learning by others' mistake by having this recipe made easy way
Yeah.
to minimize the failures by incubated in any incubation cell is definitely something that I would like to point it out, Mr. Parvez.
So yeah, I thanks Prajwal and Abhishek. If I can sum up all the discussions in 4 lines: identify the market, validate the market, be agile and adaptive to capture the market, and be part of the innovation ecosystem. I think with these 4 summary lines, I leave it to the organizer back. If you have any questions from the audience, we'll pick it up. Otherwise, it was a really very insightful discussions.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Parvez, for moderating this panel discussion. Also, thank you, Mr. Abhishek and Mr. Prajwal. And to our viewers, we apologize for the technical difficulties. As you all know, we're working from a home setting, so our resources are also extremely limited. So thank you for being patient with us. And once again, thank you, Mr. Parvez. I learned that you have a lot of experience in working with startups, working with people who are entering into startups. So this information that you've shared with us is extremely valuable. And also to Mr. Abhishek and Mr. Prajwal, who are out in the field right now and who have given us a hands-on experience or shared their hands-on experience with what there is out there. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for taking time off. Thank you, Mr. Parvez, for being with us today and moderating this entire panel discussion.
Thank you, Professor Sankita.
With that, we've come to a close of day 1 of this virtual summit series. In order to deliver the vote of thanks, I would like to invite Dr. Shanti R., Associate Professor, Department of Commerce from University of Madras, to please take this forward.
Thank you, Ms. Sankita. A very good afternoon. On behalf of the organizing team, it is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks. At the outset, I thank Convener Committee and Register for permitting me to host the session jointly with BSA Crescent Institute of Science and Technology and Stella Maris College. I thank our head, Professor R. Rangarajan, and my colleagues for all the support. When I organized webinars, one thing that came to my mind is that we are not giving a holistic approach. For example, a 360-degree approach to a particular theme we are selecting. So that is the answer for the virtual summit. So for conducting virtual summit, I know I need some more assistance. So when I approach Dr. Raja Hussain Sir, Deputy Registrar, BSA Crescent Institute of Science and Technology, he immediately agreed and also constituted a team. And he has helped me down 2007, 8, 9 when he was with the USAB Director, University of Madras. He helped me in organizing many seminars, conferences. So he constituted a committee with Dean, Social Sciences and Humanities, Dr. Ayub Khan Sir, and Professor SKJ Ganesh, Professor Management Studies. So we were working on this theme for the past 1 month. I thank Pro-Chancellor, BSA Crescent Institute of Science and Technology for inaugurating the summit, and also thank Registrar, conveners for all the support they have extended for hosting this webinar. I have to specially mention about Dr. Ayub Khan Sir for giving a shape to the summit from the beginning to end, and he used to unplug all the holes. And it is because of him we could do it with a time schedule. And I thank Dr. SKJ Ganesh, who spent many hours in designing the theme and fixing the speakers to put it on one single line. This summit could see the light of the day. It is just because of him. Thank you, sir. And when I approached Dean, Commerce and Business Studies, Stella Maris College, Dr. Lima ma'am, she said, Stella Maris College will be honored to extend all the support, but I did not expect she will deploy a army. I should say a 5-man army. Down the line, 1916, and there was a movie, 5-man army. I just, when I saw all the 5 youngsters, Miss Deepashri, Miss Ankita, Miss Lilavati, Miss Saranya, Miss Renu, I just wondered the energy with which they worked, the young, vibrant team. And I used to bombard them with messages day and day out, irrespective of the day and time. But they just worked with a smile. Thank you, the coordinators, the technical coordinators. Above all, I also thank the resource persons for enlightening us on various topics, for giving an insight about the marketing research, the strategies, and how, what is the shift from now and what we can expect in the future. I thank all the resource persons for spending their valuable time. Above all, I thank Almighty for giving me that mental strength. And many times I used to get support from unexpected quarters. Like, for example, yesterday I was just thinking how to go about with the digital certificates. We had some few issues. Then immediately Dr. Meena stepped in from Bhaktavachanam College. She said, my son solved these issues. I was just, so it is not just the institutions are here, even our family has supported. And I have never felt on all these days that I'm just coordinating with the 3 institutes. It is a great family. I thank everyone. Thank you. Over to Ankita.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Shanti, for delivering that vote of thanks. With that, we come to a close of day 1 of this virtual summit. I thank all the speakers and all the organizers who have been with us today. A special word of mention and appreciation to you, dear participants, for being patient with us and for being a lively and interactive audience. So with that, just before I conclude, a gentle reminder to fill in the feedback link. I understand that some of you are facing technical difficulties. This is because everybody is trying to fill it in at the same time. So the traffic is too much. I urge you to be a little patient and please ensure you fill in the feedback form. The link is available in the private chat. It will also be available in the description right below the YouTube video. The link for tomorrow's session and the day after that will be emailed to you, just like how you got today's session link. With that, we would like to close today. Thank you, take care, and God bless.